are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. Let's try this again. What if I told you your entire life there's a secret method that you can use to get any man to commit to you? But what if I also told you that for your entire life you've probably been doing it the wrong way? If that makes you a little bit nervous, don't worry. On today's show, we're going to be discussing 5 secrets to get him to commit to you. That way, you can get the man you actually want to take a relationship with you just as seriously. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Okay, welcome to the show, everyone. Sorry about being a little bit late today. A lot of bit late today. I had some technical difficulties with my internet, had to fix some things, but we should be up and running very well today. Okay, I was trying to troubleshoot all day. It's okay. We're here now, okay? And we're gonna learn secrets on how to get him to commit to you. Who we got up in the chat? We got Valeria is here. We got Scotty here. We got Megan. I keep forgetting to make Scotty a moderator. I gotta remember to do that, okay? Queen Bee is here. She says, hey, Pompey President. Zyra is here. Tiffany is here. Taylor is here. Amy is here. I believe I saw Charisse here as well. And SH, welcome. Those are our 2 moderators, so shout them out. A special shout out for them. We got Rogue here in the YouTube chat. We got Kalia here. We got Brianna. We got Jazz. We got Adele. We got Natalie. Let me scroll up here. I want to shout out some of the amazing channel members who stuck with us. We got Nicole here, one of our amazing channel members. Amal here, our amazing channel member. Is Tracy now here? She usually be here like right on time. We got Kubi here as well. Welcome. We got Simply here, Elena here, Mary. He said, I think I shouted out Mary. And of course we got the most amazing Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. Let's get started, chat. You know, I don't want to waste any more time. All right. So first things first, when we're talking about how to get a man to commit to you. Okay. The first thing we're going to discuss today. By the way, chat, I saw the feedback of the me standing. I got to see the chat yesterday. So clearly this is a segment you guys like, so I'll continue standing and teaching you guys for the main segment of the show. So number 1, we're going to be talking about all or nothing. Now, this is a terminology that I want you to get familiar with, because what you need to understand is a grave mistake that you're going to make when you're dating men is you're going to fall into the trap when you like a guy and you want to spend time with him and you just want this to really work. You're going to fall into the trap of allowing your time spent with him to be very casual and not forcing him to make any decisions because you don't want to make him uncomfortable, and potentially find yourself in a situation where when he does make a decision, he decides maybe, oh, I don't want to be with you, or maybe, oh, I don't want a relationship with you. So rather than hearing that answer and hearing that response, you decide to say, I'm not going to pressure you. I'm going to make this very chill, very relaxed, very demure, just make it a safe space where you don't have to worry about anything. All you have to think about is having fun and enjoying yourself, because you hear guys say all day, I wish I had a girlfriend that was like one of the bros. I wish I could hang out with a girl that was like one of the bros. Me and the bros, we just chill. We just play video games. We don't talk too much. We don't cry. There's not a whole bunch of emotion. I like the bros. Great. They don't marry the bros though. So quite convenient that they would say that, but they don't want to be in a relationship with one of their bros. So I say that to say, don't be worried about being chill. Don't convince yourself that being chill makes you more likable. It doesn't. It will also make it very difficult for you to get commitment out of men. You have to have the mindset of all or nothing. Now, what does all or nothing consist of, okay? So let's come up with a couple of mistakes that you're gonna make when you're not doing all or nothing, okay? So let's just say this side is going to be comfortable. And this side will be commitment, okay? So we have 2 separate tables here under, of columns of what we're gonna be looking at today. So when you get comfortable, right, with a guy, you're gonna be doing things like hanging out casually, okay? This is a problem here. See, the problem with hanging out casually is it's fun. It doesn't require a lot of effort. But see, remember, I tell you guys, your relationship starts from the very beginning. So from that very first message, from that very first text, from that very first Snapchat, okay? All of this is teaching your man and training him on exactly how you want to be treated, what your expectations are, what you're willing to deal with, and what you're not willing to deal with. So when you start hanging out casually, of course, it's fun, it's easy, it's very low pressure as an environment. But the problem with hanging out casually is you start to train your man and show the guy that you're dealing with that there is not a lot required to be with you. In fact, that you can be very low maintenance, right? You're thinking, oh, I'm low maintenance. I'm very easy to get along with. You don't have to worry about me. You don't have to think about what I need or what I want on a daily basis. You can just hang out with me and it can be like one of the bros. See, this is the problem though. When you're hanging out casually, because you don't want to force him to make a decision, he takes that opportunity. But when he hangs out casually with you, then he no longer says, hey, I want to actually plan something with you. I want to actually go out with you. I want to actually go on a date with you. I want to actually do something special for you. See, when you start accepting hanging out casually at the very beginning, he starts saying, well, cool, we'll hang out casually forever. And I'll never do anything special, or I'll never bother about going out somewhere nice with you or planning something really intimate with you. I'll just hang out casually for the rest of our relationship. Remember, you're training your guy from the very beginning, okay? So let's talk about some other things that you're gonna do, okay? You're gonna be doing things like see, you think it's cute when you're sleeping over at his place 3-4 nights a week and you're washing his clothes, you're washing his socks, you're cooking him breakfast, you're making him dinner. You guys are essentially spending time together like you are married, but you're not married. In fact, he doesn't even call you his girlfriend, but you're over there chefing up a meal from scratch as if he has a ring on has put a ring on your finger, but he hasn't. You're doing this in hopes that eventually he'll notice how amazing you are, how awesome you are, and how, great it would be to have you as a wife. But here is the problem. Remember, this first point segment that we're going to be discussing is all or nothing. And in fact, you're doing the opposite of all or nothing. You're giving him all for nothing. Okay? And the reason that this is so important is because, see, what you want to get to is a place where you're helping and aiding guys in making decisions. See, because guys aren't inherently evil beings, but they are opportunists, which means if you give them a runway to allow them to get what they need with giving very little, they will take that opportunity. They're opportunists. But here's the thing. The less you give men, and the more you draw a line, the better it is for you. Because when you're dating these guys and you're not giving them all of these things, right, you're gonna be in a better position to help and aid him make a decision. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the things that you might be doing. So acting like a wife, essentially cooking, cleaning, staying at his place, just doing things, running errands for him as if you're his girlfriend, but you're not his girlfriend, okay? And you know if you're his girlfriend or not. If he goes out and he tells other people it's complicated, you're not his girlfriend. If he goes out and when he meets new girls, he doesn't mention you, you're not his girlfriend, okay? So there's no need for you to be acting like a wife. Now, here's the other thing that I want to mention to you as it relates to acting like a wife, okay? Yeah, there we go. Ooh, availability. Okay. Wife availability. Now, this is different even than just casually hanging out. You know how when you're dating someone seriously, and that actually is someone you care about and are committed to, if they're in an emergency or they have a situation going on, you actually will drop what is going on with you to tend to their needs, to answer their calls, to be there for them, right? If your mother calls you and tells you it's really urgent, you're going to take a step outside of work. You're going to take a step outside of your party or whatever you're doing. If you're at the gym, you're going to stop your set and you're going to tend to your mother's need because that's your mother. You care about her. You love her. So if she tells you an emergency, you're going to drop everything for her. But that's your mother. The problem is, someone said we can't see. Can't see on YouTube? What? Can you guys not see on YouTube? Okay. Oh, so you guys can't see the board. Sorry. My apologies. Let me move the chat here for you guys on YouTube. Let's see here. YouTube chat. Let me move that. There we go. I'll move this up over here. Okay, perfect. All right. That better for you guys? So, what you want to be focusing on is your wife availability, because the same way when you're in your mother calls you and she's asking you, hey, I got something for you and I really need you to pull up and I really need you to be here, you're going to be available to your mom as she needs you anytime that it's urgent. But here's the problem: when you give wife level availability to men that haven't made you their girlfriend, you're allowing him to be comfortable. Okay. And when I say comfortable, I'm not talking about comfortable like, oh, this is so relaxing and this is so peaceful and this is so easygoing. That's not the comfortable that I'm referring to. The comfortable that I'm referring to is his ability to say to himself, hey, I'm getting a lot of what I need, what I'm seeking, what I want out of a relationship. And so because I'm getting a lot of what I need and what I'm seeking, I have no internal desire, right, to build this further or take this relationship to the next level, because I'm already getting most of everything that I already need. So this is part of the problem when you want guys to commit to you. You unfortunately, I know this is going to sound horrible, but unfortunately, you're going to have to start getting good at giving just enough to allow him to stay interested in you, but never too much that he gets comfortable or feels like there is nowhere left to go. See, you have to be of the mindset that it's all or nothing. Meaning, if I'm your girlfriend, you will get commitment from me. You will get all my effort. You'll get all my attention. You'll get all my focus. You'll get my 110%. However, if I'm not your girlfriend, if there is no commitment here, you will not get that same level of investment from me. And you have to be unapologetic about that with the men that you're dating. You cannot feel sorry for guys for telling them, hey, yeah, I'm not doing that, okay? I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not your wife, all right? We're dating and we're seeing each other. I like you, but there are boundaries. You understand what I'm saying? And you can't feel bad about doing that. Why? Because the reality of it is the men that you're dating are always in control of whether or not there is commitment here. Meaning, if a guy really wants you and he really wants to be with you and he really wants to take your relationship to the next level, and that's where your relationship should be, he is in control of being able to say, hey, I actually want you to be my girlfriend. I want to ask you out. I want to take our relationship to the next level. Okay. The guy that you're dating is in control of that, meaning that if he doesn't do that, yet still complains about the fact that, you're not giving him that same level of investment that maybe he thinks he's giving you, or the level of investment that he thinks a wife would be giving, you can't apologize for that and then start thinking to yourself, oh, let me give more. Let me do more. Let me be the girlfriend that he says I should be. Okay. Because as soon as you start doing that, you're going to be in this category where he becomes very comfortable with the relationship and how it stands. And so he won't be forced to make a decision. Okay. So let's quickly look at some of the things that are going to be going on in your relationship when there is commitment. Okay. When there's commitment, there's a respect for time. You see, one of the things that you'll notice when a guy is serious about you and actually takes you and this relationship seriously, he's going to look at you as an individual, meaning like an entity outside of himself. Meaning that when you have things going on or you have things that are important to you, those things are important to you. Even if they're not important to him, that doesn't make them any less important. You have your own set of priorities. You have your own set of responsibilities. You have things that you need to tend to for your own life. And that's your life. Your life is not an extension of his life, right? Your happiness is not just, what you do should not just be an extension of what his happiness is or isn't. And so there will be a respect for your time when there's commitment. And one of the ways you'll notice that is the guys that you're dating are going to be actively trying to schedule and plan their time with you. Why? Because they understand you're not supposed to or meant to be available to me 24/7. In fact, it would be completely impossible for you to be available to me 24/7 because you shouldn't. You should have other things going on in your life that don't allow you to be there for me 24/7. Okay? So here's the other thing that will be happening in commitment, okay? Oops. Okay? You'll have a clear difference in treatment. What I mean by that is there is a difference between being a girlfriend versus being side chick versus being a casual fling, okay? So you're gonna notice in a level of seriousness in the relationship in terms of the approach, meaning when it comes to solving problems and compromising, you're gonna notice that this is gonna be taken a lot more seriously. See, it's not very important to solve or compromise with someone when you're comfortable with them and you don't feel like there needs to be any escalation in the relationship. Now, when you're committed to someone, truthfully committed to someone, you're also inherently, as a man, going to be committed to that woman's happiness. So there's going to be a difference in the treatment and the difference that they go about solving problems. See, one of the things I always talk to you guys about is you have to start using to your advantage the idea and the concept of happy wife, happy life. Because the reason that, I don't know who made it up, but whoever made it up, there is a lot of truth to it. The reason that this is a prevalent concept in relationships is because when men become invested in a woman, they become invested in that woman's happiness. So one of the ways that you're going to be gauging whether men are or aren't interested in you is to be gauging how interested they are in your happiness or how uninterested they are in your happiness. And so I say that to say when there is a clear difference of commitment, you're going to notice the level of seriousness that a guy is going to bring to a relationship with you when he actually wants to build with you and he actually cares and is invested in your future happiness. So what is the point of me giving you guys an understanding of commitment versus being comfortable? The reason I want to explain all of this to you is so that you can understand if I'm giving all or nothing, then I have to be focused on getting a committed type of energy from him and not giving the type of energy that would allow him to be comfortable in our relationship, okay? Unfortunately, this comfortable stage, right? Even though this side is called commitment, this stage over here is very uncomfortable, okay? So we can even put that in brackets underneath, okay? This stage here, okay? This stage underneath here is very uncomfortable. Why is it uncomfortable? Because this is where you're going to have to set a lot of boundaries. If you want commitment, and this is where I want you to start drilling this into your brain. If you want commitment, you have to set boundaries. You will not get commitment if you do not set boundaries. Now, I'm not talking about just, making him say sorry to you if he disrespects you or calls you names. What I'm talking about is setting the boundary of not allowing yourself to give too much to someone who has not given anything to you or has no plans of committing himself to you. You have to get comfortable with the uncomfortableness of being able to say to a guy, hey, I'm not your girlfriend. I'm not doing that. That way, there's constantly an incentive to make you a girlfriend, number one, but he also understands that, hey, if I'm not getting what I need from you, if there's not a clear understanding of what we are and where we're supposed to be going, you're not going to be getting 100% investment from me, because as soon as you start getting that as a man, you're going to be in this area right here. You're going to be in the comfortable stage where you don't feel it's necessary to move our relationship forward because you're in a place where you're happy with everything that you're getting from me, okay? We don't want that from you. We want guys to be committed to you, not comfortable with you, all right? So very important in order to get guys committed. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay, let's hop into our next point. Oh, by the way, do you guys have any questions? Someone said, "Damn, you thirsty?" I do be thirsty. You know, I be yapping a lot, so it makes me thirsty. Okay, let's go on to our next point. So we talked first about kind of the difference between being comfortable and uncomfortable. Now, I want to talk to you all about a point that's going to be very interesting. And it's going to sound toxic when I first say it, but I want you to understand it's not meant to be toxic, okay? Or maybe it is, all right? But still, very, very important for everything that we're going to be learning and discussing today, okay? Okay, so number two, you're gonna leave some behind, okay? Now, this is why this is gonna sound toxic. The reason I'm saying you have to leave some behind is I want you to get good at understanding you're not meant to be giving everything, to a man that you're meeting from the very beginning. That's not how it's supposed to be. You're meant to be pacing yourself in your relationship and leaving some of this investment left over so that you still have a step up to go. In yesterday's show, where we talked about, dating a man, and in past shows, we've talked about how to pace yourself while dating a guy so that you're eventually going to get yourself to a place where you're actually in a relationship with him and he's actually your boyfriend. I talked to you guys about strategically allowing yourself to gradually increase your investment over time so that eventually you get to the place where the investment is full blown when you're actually his girlfriend. But the problem is, if you're in a situation where you're giving him as much as you possibly can from the very beginning, you don't have a way to take a step up as time goes on, okay? So you have to leave some behind. Now, the reason that this is going to sound toxic is because I'm basically telling you to try less and do less for the guys that you're dating. Now, it sounds obviously toxic because you're like, well, shouldn't I put my best foot forward, Tomisin? Shouldn't I try as much as I possibly can? Shouldn't I push and push and push and push and push? Unfortunately, when you push and push and push with men, they will only take and take and take and take. They're not going to then see you pushing, then see you trying your hardest, and then think to themselves, well, I need to try just as hard as she is, okay? So when you're leaving some behind, let's even draw this as an analogy that you guys can comprehend and understand, okay? So let's imagine there's two sets of draw this for you guys so it makes some sense here. Don't worry, it's not going to look like it makes much sense at first, and I'll explain it to you guys as it's going on. Okay, so this is kind of what I want you to be thinking about here in this analogy, okay? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you came across, you love candy and you really, really enjoy candy. Let's just say you love chocolate, okay? And so you're going trick-or-treating, and for whatever reason, you're an adult going trick-or-treating. And so this time when you go trick-or-treating, you stop at someone's house who has all this most amazing chocolate. He's like Willy Wonka, the chocolate factory at his house, okay? He's got snickerdoodles. Snickerdoodles isn't even chocolate. He's got Snickers. He's got Mars bars. He's got milk chocolate, dark chocolate, that type of dark chocolate, okay? All types of chocolate he's got at his house, all right? And every time you bite into one of his pieces of chocolate, you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing piece of chocolate I've ever tasted in my entire life, okay? Like that episode of SpongeBob, chocolate, okay? And let's imagine in this first scenario here, let's go, this is the first scenario. All right, this is scenario number 1, and we'll make this scenario number 2. So let's attack scenario number 1 first. So in scenario number 1, this man that you go trick-or-treating at his house, all right, he's a nice, good-looking man. He gives you a whole bag of chocolate. There's 100 chocolates in there, okay? More chocolates than you could possibly consume. He gives you enough chocolates for the rest of 2 years. Okay, you don't even need to go back to his house for the second trick or treat time. All right. So when you get this huge, massive bag of chocolates, all right, and you're munching on these chocolates and you're eating those chocolates until you're literally full. Okay, so good, so satiating, so sweet, so chocolatey, so delicious. All right, everything amazing. Chocolate everywhere, and you get this chocolate. Of course, it's amazing when you get that huge bag of chocolate, but immediately after you eat so much chocolate that you no longer have a desire for chocolate, let's say you eat it until you're absolutely full and you still have more chocolate left over, you become I don't even know if that's how you spell it, but you become satiated, okay? I didn't say that I was an essay writer. I'm a teacher, all right? So you become satiated. What I mean by satiated, I'm pretty sure there's an S in here, whatever. You become satiated. Now, the reason you become satiated, obviously, you've had as much as you can possibly want here. And so there becomes no desire to have any more chocolate. You start to feel like, I had as much chocolate as I could possibly want. And, I'm kind of good now. In fact, probably tomorrow, when I have the option to have chocolate, I feel like maybe I won't take that opportunity, right? Because there's so much chocolate that even after I ate so much, I'm still full. And even though I'm full, there's more chocolate left over. And tomorrow, there will still be enough chocolate that even if I eat all the chocolate, I'll still have some left over. So maybe tomorrow I take a break from chocolate. And so all of a sudden, the chocolate that you once loved and was once so amazing and awesome and, just all you could think about all day. Because remember, when you were going trick-or-treating, you couldn't wait to come to that man's house to get you a bag of chocolate because you knew the chocolate at his house was so amazing, it's like homemade, right? But eventually, even something that was so amazing and so awesome to you, when you got in this extensive quality all at once, you became satiated, and then you said to yourself, maybe tomorrow I eat something else like spinach or something, okay? Maybe tomorrow I eat something else. Maybe I'll eat caramel or something, or just cereal, all right? And that's the problem. And see, let's imagine in scenario number 2, where that same man at that house gives you just enough chocolate. Literally just a couple small mini bite-sized pieces. But every time you bite into that piece of chocolate, you're like, oh my God, this chocolate is so good. But you only get 3 small pieces of that chocolate. And when you eat it, you're literally like, oh my God, this is never enough. And you're like licking the wrapper, okay? You're like cutting the wrapper up. You're like putting all your saliva all over it, rubbing it all over your tongue because you're like, oh my God, I need every piece of this chocolate. And by the time you go back to his house, he's like, no, you can't have seconds. I gotta make sure I hand out all the other chocolate to all the other kids. You can only come here once. And you're like, please, I need this chocolate so bad. And you're trying to sneak into his house. You're trying to come back in a different costume. You're trying to figure out any way you possibly can to get another piece of that chocolate, because when you tasted those small 3 pieces, you felt like you went to heaven, and now you need another piece. And now you're chasing that man around, trying to befriend him for the whole rest of the year, trying to figure out who his kids are so you can become friends with them, that you could go over to his house and get another piece of that chocolate. And so just that fast, just by him portioning you out and giving you only enough for you to want more, now all of a sudden you're doing more to get these more, I guess we could say, more pieces of chocolate over here, okay? Because these weren't included in the initial offering. And because they weren't included in the initial offering and all you got was a small sample size, because that small sample size was so amazing and you liked it so much, your desire deepens to get all these other pieces of chocolate. So you're probably asking me, well, Tomisin, what does this have anything to do with my relationships? Well, this is the problem. When you're giving all of that girlfriend treatment at the very beginning, when you're investing in that man 110%, thinking that you're proving something to him, okay, because that's the problem. You think you're proving something to him by investing all of your might and energy and resources in him from the very beginning. But you don't realize that as you're giving him all of the chocolate he could possibly desire, he's only going to reach this state eventually, meaning he's only eventually going to become satiated, right? Meaning he is satisfied with the amount of chocolate he has. And eventually he's going to say to himself, I have enough chocolate to last me the year. I have enough chocolate to last me any day that I want chocolate. In fact, it's becoming a little unspecial because I know anytime I go into my pantry, I'll have an unlimited supply of chocolate, more than I could ever wish for. So eventually, that amazing chocolate becomes not as interesting as it was when I only got 3 small little pieces. So I say when you're in a relationship, you gotta give these men 3 small little pieces. You gotta give them small sample sizes. Not that they won't see you're amazing, not that they won't get to spend time with you and get closer to you, not that they won't share intimate moments with you except for jackrabbiting themselves inside of you, but you have to understand there is a limit. And this is why I talk to you about setting boundaries. And I'm not just talking about setting boundaries as it relates to disrespect. Like I said, I want you to set boundaries as it relates to your amount of investment, the amount of time you spend on him, the amount of availability you give to him, and the amount of I guess we could say favors you do for him. And I'm talking about emotional favors, physical favors, the amount that you extend yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally for this man. And you have to understand there always needs to be a cap to that. And you have to leave some of this investment behind. You have to understand, okay, when I date a man, I'm going to be giving a certain level of myself. However, I'm not going to go past a certain level. And this is not something that you have to say to men when you start dating them or anything like that. It's not, you don't need to put all your cards on the table and tell him everything that you're doing. What you need to start doing is making a mental note of how far you're willing to go and how much you're willing to do for a man that you just started seeing, okay? And understand, okay, past a certain point, I'm not going to be overextending myself or doing anything more for this man, because there has to be a certain line in which there's a difference between what it feels like to be with me as a casual friend or as someone you're just seeing and spending time with versus what it feels to be like with me when we're actually in a serious long-term relationship. There has to be a difference. Okay? Because if there's not a difference, the guys won't be able to tell the difference between dating you versus just having you around and having fun with you. And so what does that lead to? That leads to him getting more comfortable with just having you in a situation where, yeah, you know, she's around all the time. Yeah, you know, we're friends, you know, we just kind of do our thing, but we don't actually build ourselves. We're not building up to anything in particular, and I don't need to build us up to anything in particular because there's nowhere that I'm trying to go with her or in this relationship. Okay, does that make sense to you guys so far, and why that's important? Do you guys have any questions so far? Right? Someone says, Tomisin, where do I go with all of this regret? You go here, you go to the Players Club, okay? And you listen and you listen and you listen. Of course, you're gonna realize that you've made some mistakes, but it's good to realize that you've made some mistakes because that's when you can start fixing things and start adjusting things, okay? So we talked about all or nothing. Then we talked about leaving some behind. And this is gonna sound like another toxic point here, but I do want to explain this to you all. because I do want you to be aware of this. And I do want you to take this in because this is a situation that you're going to run into when you start dating guys, okay? So point number 3 here. Okay. Point number 3, you're going to make no promises, okay? Now, this is going to sound horrible, but really and truthfully, what you need to understand is when guys want you and they like you, they're going to attempt to see if they can extract more while keeping you in a position that they already have you. So let me give you an example of some of the things that men will do when they want you and they're attempting to get you to overcommit while they don't commit to you, okay? So one of the things you're gonna hear guys say is, you're gonna hear some guys say this to you. This is an attempt to get you to overcommit. I tell girls, I'm not single, okay? You wanna know why they say that? Because this is their opportunity to essentially get you to start saying, well, if you're telling girls that you're not single, then I should be telling guys that I have a man. It's a trap! Don't listen to it, it's a trap. The reason that it's a trap is because if he has not asked you to be his girlfriend, why are you telling other men that you're not single? Why are you telling men that you have a man? You don't. You have a friend that you spend a lot of time hanging out with. That's not a crime, but that's why this is a trap. Because now you start thinking, well, is my level of commitment as a girlfriend? And you also start thinking, well, if you're telling other girls that you're not single, that you have a girl, or that you're talking to someone, then I should be telling them that same thing too. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with your relationship escalating as time goes on. And there's nothing wrong with your relationship building up to a particular endpoint, which is you guys being girlfriend and boyfriend. However, there's a problem when you are now feeling pressured to go out and tell people, hey, I'm closed off. I'm not in a committed relationship, or sorry, I'm not going to be able to see you or spend time with you because I'm focused all my energy on one other person, when in reality, you're still a single human being. Now, of course, I don't advise you to date multiple people at once. However, I also don't advise you to tell a guy that you're going to start telling other guys that, hey, I'm in a committed relationship and I have a man, when you don't. You want to know why this is so bad? Because what's going to happen is you're going to go out, and every guy that comes up to you that wants to take you out on a date, that thinks you look amazing, that thinks your dump truck is so big, and thinks that you're wearing the tightest jeans ever, and that, you know, they can't believe that they've ever seen someone as beautiful and mesmerizing as you, they're gonna say, I wanna take you out, I wanna spend some time with you, I wanna get to know you. And the moment that they say that, you're gonna say to them, well, whoa there, mister. I already have a man that I'm with, and I love him, and he's so amazing, and he's so awesome, and that's all I think about. He's gonna back away, right? The guy that came up to you is gonna back away. But in reality, when this other guy goes out and he meets a girl that he really likes, he's not gonna mention you. Why? Because it's convenient for him not to mention you when he meets a girl that he actually really likes and is really interested in. And so everyone that he doesn't want to know that he's talking to you doesn't know. And so he gets to have his fun while you run around telling all the guys that chase after you that you're in a committed relationship. But in reality, he's not telling other people that you're in a committed relationship. And what are you also doing for him? You're making him very comfortable. You're making him very comfortable because he's starting to say to himself, I don't have to worry about losing her to another man because I know that I still have the access and the commitment from her, even though I actually haven't asked her to be my girlfriend. And even though we're not actually dating, I know she would never go on another date. I know she would never entertain another man. See, this is part of the problem, okay? Right? So this is one of the other things. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, Thompson, you tell us all the time to date one person at a time. I do. However, I don't want you going on your dates spilling all the beans. Okay? When you date one guy at a time, you're solely doing that simply so that you can better understand exactly what he's looking for, who he is, what he wants. That way you're not confused because you're trying to date multiple people and juggle all the information at once. However, you're not going on your dates and saying, I'm only dating you because that's all I care about. That's all I want. I can't think of anyone aside from you. So this is kind of the problem here. One of the things that you're going to notice is guys are going to ask you, oh, let's be exclusive and only be dating each other. Like a boyfriend and a girlfriend? Yeah, but not really boyfriend and girlfriend. More like we're only dating each other, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. No! You say no to that. You make no promises. Now, I'm not saying that when you start dating this guy, you start telling him, hey, by the way, I just want you to know, I've been watching the Players Club and, you know, Tomisin was telling me all this amazing stuff about making no promises. So I want to let you know that I'm going to be dating exactly 6.5 guys at the same time that I'm dating you, okay? That's not what I want you to do when you go out on your dates. What I want you to do is to understand that I will be committed to you when you show me commitment. And so the answer that you give whenever a guy starts talking about I'm only dating you or you only dating me, you tell him I'm here to figure out if you're the guy that I'm looking for and the guy that I want to invest the rest of my time and energy into. And so I'm learning you and I'm growing with you. If I realize at some point that you're not the guy I'm looking for, I'll stop dating you and I'll stop seeing you and I'll stop talking to you. But that's all I'm here for. I'm here to get that answer and get an understanding of who you are. Now, if there comes a certain point where our relationship is ready for the next step, then I'll gladly take the next step. However, it's not, there are no assurances, and I do not have an understanding of where our relationship stands if we're only dating each other, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. So I'm not going to go around and tell people a lie, because it would be a lie to tell people I have a man and I'm in a committed relationship when we are not boyfriend and girlfriend. And this actually I know this sounds very cold and heartless, but this has to be your response when guys try to get you to do this, okay? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make your relationship exclusive to each other without making your relationship an exclusive relationship. Because now you're in a confusing state. When you're under the impression there's exclusivity and then he goes out and he sleeps with his best girlfriend, right? One of his female friends, one of the bros type of thing. He then says, oh, well, you know, we weren't really dating. So when I told her I was single, one thing led to another and blah, 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 blah. And you start hearing excuses. But that's the issue. See, when you start getting in a place where there's confusion, now you're making it so much easier for the guys that you're dating to put you in a position where they're like, cool, I'm glad I have everything that I want here. Okay, I'm glad that I have everything I need here. I don't have to worry, because these two things, right? These two things, when guys say this to you, what they're trying to do is they're trying to ensure they don't have to worry about any other competition. Okay? And this is precisely why I want you to make no promises. I don't want you to start promising guys that there will be no competition when they start seeing you just because they've been hanging out with you for a couple of days. Okay? And the reason I don't want you doing that is because we want to keep the pressure, all right? We want to keep the pressure on the men that you're dating. And when I said the reason I'm stomping is because you really want to keep foot on neck here. And what I mean by keep the pressure on them, I mean keep the pressure on them to say, okay, if I don't put my best foot forward here, if I don't move this relationship along, then I'm going to lose her to some other guy who will take control of the situation and want to be moving their relationship further with her, okay? You have to keep pressure on guys that you're dating. You have to keep it in an uncomfortable situation. See, this is what you need to get, okay? And this is the whole purpose of this point. The talking stage is not meant to be comfortable. You actually want to make the talking stage uncomfortable for men. Make them feel pressure, make them feel like, a sense of urgency, make them feel like there's a lot of competition. You want that stage in your relationship to be uncomfortable to the guys that you're dating. Not because you're a toxic person, but because if you guys are only going to be talking forever, he's going to have to look out for so much. He's going to be having to guard you. He's going to be having to keep track of your whereabouts and all this extra stuff, instead of just committing himself to you and trusting that, hey, now that she's my girlfriend, I don't have to worry about 1,000 guys hitting her up and her going out on a date with another guy. I don't have to worry about one day she gets flown out to another country. I don't have to worry about, who she posted 2 plates, who is she out on a date with, or is she talking to this guy or talking to that guy, or whatever it may be. You have to keep that pressure on men where they feel slightly uncomfortable because they don't feel like they have the right to the spot in your life or the place in your heart that will give them that sense of peace and, be able to say, okay, I know that I'm her main priority, okay? Because a lot of guys, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to make them your main priority before they ever make you their main priority. Because as soon as they can make them your main priority, then they can add you to the roster and they can hit you up whenever they feel like hitting you up. We don't want that for you, okay? So, does that make sense to you guys so far, and why that is so important? You make no promises to men, no matter what, especially as it relates to exclusivity that is not let's be boyfriend and girlfriend, because guys love to they love to talk about exclusivity without actually talking about asking you to be their boyfriend, or to be their girlfriend, sorry. Okay, so let's hop into our next point. Our next point here okay. You have to stand your ground. Now, this is so important because when you're dating men, you have to understand that, like I said, men are opportunists. If you don't stand your ground in your relationships, they will take that opportunity of you not saying anything, not speaking up for yourself, and they'll strategically give you less and less and less and less. It sounds easy to stand your ground when you're thinking, oh, Tomisin, I'm hearing you say this when we're having a conversation and we're in the players club and I'm riled up. I'm watching you stand on the whiteboard and I'm watching you tap the whiteboard and I feel like I'm going to stand on business for real. But when you start dating this guy that you really like and you're really passionate about and you think he's amazing, you think he's super handsome, he's super tall, he's super good looking, all that good stuff, now you start thinking, well, maybe we can, chill casually more. Maybe all our dates don't have to be super high effort. Maybe I can, just accept the fact that you're busy, so you don't have the time or the energy to do the most in our relationship. Or sometimes you don't have the time or the energy to stay committed to me or keep our keep our conversations going or put your best foot forward, whatever the excuse may be. When you don't stand your ground, you make it so much easier for guys to put you in that position where they are feeling comfortable with where the relationship is currently, okay? So what does it really mean? Oh, I dropped my thing here. What does it really mean to stand your ground? Okay, let's look at some of the things that you'll be saying and doing when you're standing your ground, standing on business, as the kids like to say, that's the Gen Z term, and being a pushover, okay, as it relates to making a man commit. Now, this is going to be a little bit confusing to some of you because you're going to be asking, wait, how does being a pushover, how is this me when I ask, what do you want? How is that me being a pushover? Glad you asked. The reason that this is being a pushover is because, see, when you start seeing a guy and you're asking that guy, what do you want? You're essentially asking him, hey, I'm here for whatever it is that you're looking for. So tell me what you want so that I can understand what it is you're looking for, and I'll make an adjustment for that accordingly. You're not making an adjustment for anything, according to anything. You're standing your ground on what it is that you're looking for, and all you're doing when you date guys and when you start talking to them is you're identifying, do you fit the criteria of what it is I'm looking for? You don't worry about what it is he's looking for. Yeah, I wish this was 3D. I could hop out the screen on you. You worry about what it is that you're looking for, okay? So this is the opposite of that when you're standing on business. Okay? You're saying, what do I want? And you're asking yourself, when I look at you, when I spend time with you, are you in line with what I want, who I want, what I need, what's important to me? And the reason you have to be thinking this way is because when you're thinking, what do you want, you become a pushover, okay? Right? Because when you're thinking, what do you want, your mind is constantly focused on how can I do more, say more, do the right things, say the right things to serve you in my quest of figuring out what do you want. Right? So I know it sounds like such an innocent question because you really just want to understand, what does this guy want? What does he feel? What does he need? Right? But what you should be doing when you're asking questions and when you're getting to know guys, you're solely asking these questions to understand, are you what I want? Are you what I'm looking for? I'm only asking you these questions because I know I'm looking for a commitment. I know I'm looking for someone who's serious. I know I'm looking for someone who has these qualities in them. And that's the only type of guy I'm going to be dating. That's the only type of guy I'm going to be investing my time in. That's the only type of guy that's even going to be getting the time of day with me. So the moment I realize that you're not that, I'm definitely going to be pulling myself back from this relationship or this situationship and investing my time and energy elsewhere, okay? So, here's the other thing that's going to be happening. Why don't you like me? I don't know. Why don't you like me? Is it something I said? Today you're not texting me as much as you usually do. Did I do something wrong to you? Today you're not calling me as much as you usually do. Did I eat my food the wrong way? Did I stuff my face too much? Did I walk the wrong way? Was my dress not tight enough? What is wrong with me and why don't you like me? This is the type of rhetoric and this is the type of thought process you're going to be going through when you become a pushover, okay? And this is the thing as it relates to standing your ground. And this is why I'm trying to kind of help you understand the difference between these, being a pushover and standing on business. When you're standing your ground as it relates to making guys commit to you, you have to be of the mindset that you are not willing to compromise anything about what it is you're looking for, because what you're looking for is what you're looking for, okay? Okay? Let me make that nice and clear for you. Okay? The reason you can't be compromising anything is because the moment you start compromising, you start doing more for the men that you're dating. As you do more for the men that you're dating, you make their life easier, Remember, the talking stage is not meant to be easy for the guys. The talking stage is meant to be a transition for the men that they eventually say, oh, I've gotten my small sample size of the chocolate and I love the amount of time I get with you. I love the amount of effort I get from you. I love, being with you and spending this time with you. I want to take all of this to the next level. I want to get the whole bag of chocolate now that I've had the sample size. And when he decides to take that whole bag, he leaps forward into commitment with you instead of being comfortable having all the chocolate he could possibly want in that first period, and then afterwards he no longer has any desire to get anything more from you or take the relationship any further forward. Okay, so we don't want that. Now here's the other thing that you have to make sure that you stand on business on. Okay, okay. See, these two opposites are really important when it relates to standing your ground. When you're being a pushover, you're going to be thinking of, I want to prove myself to you. I want to show you that I'm worthy of you making me a girlfriend. Problem. As you start thinking this way, you do more, you do more, you do more. You get on your hands and knees, you scrub the floor, you put your maid outfit on, you tell him how amazing he is, you compliment him at every chance that you get, you try to give him so much loyalty before he's even asked for it, you try to show everyone and in every way and everything that you are who he's looking for. He only ends up overlooking you, he only ends up going out and chasing a different girl. That's not you, because all you're thinking of is, I want to prove myself to you. What you need to be thinking of when you're standing your ground is, prove yourself to me. Prove to me that you are who I'm looking for. Prove to me that you fit my criteria. Remember, you're the woman. So you're receiving the man into you. Eventually, you're going to spread your legs open and he's going to jackrabbit himself inside of you for hopefully more than 90 seconds. When he does that, though, you want to ensure that the guy that you have invested this time and this energy in is actually the same guy that will be existing after he jackrabbits himself inside of you. Are you following what I'm saying? We want to ensure that the person you're investing all this time and energy into is actually who you're looking for, not someone that after he jackrabbits himself inside of you, you start saying to yourself, oh, that was a mistake. I don't think that this guy is who I'm looking for. I don't think that this is the relationship that I want. Because as soon as you come to that realization, you're going to start becoming anxious, thinking to yourself, well, maybe now I have to do some things to make this relationship work, make this work out, make this good again, because I've already lost the body out on this. I've already, committed myself to this, but now I'm finding myself in a situation where I'm not really getting what I want, okay? So it's very important to stand your ground. And when you're standing your ground, you cannot allow men to put you in a position where they get you to do more for them. You have to be of the mindset, I will set boundaries. I will not overextend myself in the relationship. And if you ask me to overextend myself, I will gladly decline. You have to get good at saying no. Okay? You have to say no to being available to them. You have to say no to overextending yourself for them. Okay? So when it comes to emergencies, you can't drop yourself for emergencies, the same way you would with your mother as a guy that you're talking to. Unfortunately, and I know this is going to make you feel guilty. I know it will make you feel guilty. But unfortunately, there has to be a line drawn between what you do for someone who is a family member and what you do for someone who you just started talking to. Okay? The reason for that is because if there's not a boundary between those two things, you will very easily find yourself in a gray area where you're tending to a guy you went on 1 or 2 dinner dates with the same way you would tend to a best friend for a decade. Okay? It's bad not only for you and your relationship with the guy, it's also bad for your relationships with other people. Because, we actually watched a clip yesterday that perfectly describes this. See, when you start doing this, what's going to happen is the people in your life that really care about you, really love you, and really deserve that amount of attention and focus, they'll become resentful of you, because every time there's a new guy in your life, that new guy will take over all of your brain space and all of your time, energy, and commitment. Meaning, when that guy needs you, you will drop everything with all those other people, the family members that love you, the friends that have been friends with you for decades that actually care about you. You'll drop everything that you were doing with them to be with this new guy, right? And you're going to overcommit yourself. Why? I want to prove myself to you. I want to show you that I'm the girlfriend you're looking for. I want you to see how amazing I am. Hopefully that when you see how amazing I am, you will want me to make you will want to make me your girlfriend. That is exactly precisely the problem. The moment you start thinking, I'm trying to show you how great of a girlfriend I am, you'll be overextending yourself. You'll be putting to the side your other priorities, your other friendships, your other relationships with people that have been with you for years and deserve that level of commitment from you. And you'll be putting it aside to prove to this guy that he should want to be in a relationship with you. What will that do in turn? It'll make him very comfortable in the position that he's in with you, because he's happy knowing that I'm getting a level of commitment from you that I don't have to work any harder to get, and I don't have to overextend myself to get. So I want to stay in this position. I am comfortable in this position, okay? Right? So this is so important, right? We're doing essentially here, and we're gonna hop right into the last point. We're doing essentially here what is like we're choking off every avenue that these men are gonna have in their relationship with you to essentially force their hand, okay? So let's hop right into number 5 here. So number 5 is going to be time efficiency. You have to start getting good at understanding when you have a new man in your life, you need to be very efficient with your time. Remember, in yesterday's show, I kind of broke down the different things that will be pulling at you in a relationship, okay? And you have to understand that as those things are pulling at you in a relationship, you want to make sure that you keep the main priorities, and a new man in your life that just started dating you should never be your main priority, okay? Excuse me. So let's kind of just break down a little bit how you're going to be spending your time, why you're going to be spending your time like that, and what result we're trying to see from that, okay? So let's say you have a pie. So this pie should represent here. Let me draw this pie so we can properly do this. Okay, so this is what we're going to call an energy pie, okay? So in your energy pie, you're going to have many different ways that you can spend this energy. Now remember, there is only a maximum of 100% of this energy. And you have to start getting time efficient because this pie has now been split, right? Just by a little bit, because now there is a new source entering your pie that requires your time and energy. Meaning you have to start getting strategic about being efficient with that time, knowing what needs to get, scaled back on so you can spend more time with this guy, but also knowing what needs to stay a priority so that you don't lose out on your end goal and you don't overextend and overcommit yourself to this guy. Are you following what I'm saying here? Okay. So when this new guy comes into your life, let's just say you have a pie here that consists of Okay, so this pie here is all about your friends. Okay, then you have this pie here that's all about work. And you have this pie here that's all about, let's just say, fam, like we did yesterday. And this pie here is supposed to be for you. But guy comes along and he inserts himself right here in this pie. So this pie that was supposed to be for you, right, this whole section over here, now gets split into this, okay? And the rest is for the man, the new man, okay? So your pie gets split, okay? And because your pie gets split like this, and now you've invested a lot of this energy up into him, remember, because you're in prove it mode. And you're thinking to yourself, well, let me spend all my time trying to please him, trying to do my best to show him that I'm the girl that he's looking for, the girl that he needs, the girl that he wants. You've taken a lot of away a lot of this time invested into you. So you know what? You no longer are able to look in the mirror at what you look like, where your life is, and what progress you've had for yourself. And say to yourself, oh, I know that I'm moving in the right direction. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with what's going on in my life. I'm happy with the position that I'm in and what I've been doing. You're no longer able to look in the mirror and look at your own life as confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. Why? Because this man has come in and taken all of this pie in your life. So now instead, you look at him to decide whether or not that you're moving in the right direction, whether or not you're worthy, whether or not you're valuable, whether or not you're good enough. And you're looking to him to confirm or deny to you that you are amazing, that you are awesome, that you're doing the right thing. Now that you're so focused on what he wants and what he needs, and you're trying to prove yourself to him, what do? You overextend yourself. So you got to get strategic with your time efficiency. So what do you have to do in order to have good time efficiency? You have to say no to the man. This is so important. See, if you're a chronic people pleaser, this will be the most difficult part of dating, is saying no to guys that you like, saying no to guys that you're interested in, saying no to guys that you've been dating. Why will this be so painful? Because you're inclined to want to say yes to guys that you really like, to want to say yes to guys that you enjoy spending your time with, okay? I don't expect you to be a heartless person that doesn't like spending your time with people, that doesn't like investing in people, that doesn't want romance, that doesn't want love, that doesn't want to feel love. I don't expect you to be a robot, okay? This is the Players Club. You're a human being. I want you and expect you to have feelings. But the problem is, though, I need your feelings I want you to also be thinking about the future and how you're going to feel in the future, and understand that if you overextend yourself and you allow yourself to be in a position where you're giving, then the guys will take, and you'll be frustrated down the line because you won't know where to go from there. That's the most frustrating part about being in a situation where you overextend yourself. Because once you're in that limbo, because remember, the guys are supposed to be asking you out on dates. They're supposed to be saying, I want to be in a relationship with you. I want to build with you. Once you're in that limbo where you don't know what things are and you don't know how to get commitment out of him or want to make you his girlfriend, you're stuck. Okay? You're stuck for real. So the reason I say you have to say no to guys where they're asking you to essentially commit more of your time and your energy to them, that they start taking over more and more of this pie. Because what the men will try to do in your life, right, even the ones that like you, they'll start strategically trying to get you to do this. And they want you to erase the friend, okay? Right? They want you get rid of the work, okay? They want you to get rid of the fam. right? And they even want you to get rid of you. Then this pie, this entire pie, simply, I want to really show you. Okay? The entire pie just becomes about men. Your entire pie. Okay? And then when your pie looks like this, you have lost the plot. Okay? When your pie looks like this, you will never recover or get commitment out of him. Unfortunately, men only want to commit to you when they see the value in you based on how much you invest in yourself. And unfortunately, when you over-invest in men or the guy that you're dating, they will see that as a lack of value. They won't see you as special or something that they should invest in or care about. And they'll instead just take from you and extract from you and extract from you until you're dry and left lifeless. Okay? Men are opportunists. So I say that to say you got to be efficient with your time and say no to men asking to take you out on, 8 dates a week. Okay? When guys want to spend 8 hours with you, when guys want you to sleep over 4 days in a row, when guys want to talk to you on the phone from as soon as you wake up to nighttime, when guys want to Snapchat you all day, every day for the, eternity, okay? All of these things that guys are going to ask of you to pull at your strings and to take some of your energy, you have to get good at saying no to. And I know this is so hard. I know it's hard. Because I know when you like a guy, you want to talk to him all day. You want to sleep over at his place 24/7. You want to spend, all weekend with him and be by his side and go to work with him and go back home with him and eat dinner with him. But unfortunately, the moment that you do that, especially when there is no commitment in your relationship, you only make it so much easier for men to become comfortable in their situation with you. And they say to themselves, well, I guess it's not so bad. We're talking, but in the process of us talking, she doesn't talk to anyone else. She doesn't even bother going on dates. She treats me like a boyfriend. She sleeps over. She cooks for me. We have fun. We laugh. We chill. She goes home when I want her to go home. Then I can go out with my boys and I can have fun and do other things. And I get the best of both worlds. So a lot of guys say, what is the point of me committing? I'm already getting everything I need. And remember, today's show is not about me telling you, hey, don't do anything for men. Don't be nice to them. Be horrible to them. Treat everyone super toxic. I'm not telling you to be a toxic person. What I'm telling you to do is when you start dating a man, any man that you date, you keep a limit of how much time and energy you invest into them. Whether they beg for more time, whether they ask for more time, whether they plead, they make a case why they need more time with you, more energy from you, more investment from you. You always say no. You always say no. You limit the amount of investment you give to men who have not committed themselves to you simply because when you limit that, you leave some left for him to say, okay, now that I'm only going to get a certain amount of investment from you. I'm going to take the next step in our relationship so that we can then progress to a stage where we're both more invested in each other because of our equal, commitment to this relationship and the happiness of this relationship. That's when you're on the same page. That's when you can open the floodgates, figuratively and literally, to actually start investing yourself to the level in which you would want to in a real serious relationship. And then you don't have to worry about what are we? What are our expectations? What are we supposed to be here? What is what are the standards and all those things like that? Because the moment you allow guys to be comfortable, the moment you allow them to say, hey, I'm getting a lot of what I need and a lot of what I desire already, why change it up or switch it up now? They will do that. Men are opportunists. Opportunists. Okay? Never forget that. They will take the opportunities that you give them. If you only give them a limited amount of your time and energy, unless they're going to commit themselves to you, they will say, damn, I really like that small sample size and I want to take our relationship to the next level. So how do I do that? I have to actually show her commitment and I have to actually do more in this relationship, put my best foot forward, and take this relationship to the next level. Okay, does that make sense to all of you beautiful people in the chat? Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we discussed today? Okay, let me know in the chat if you guys have any questions about those 5. Okay, very, very, very important. Oh, and by the way, any of you that missed the 5 points, you can go ahead and watch them on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just above my head on the top right corner of the screen. It's just Tomisin, and you can type in my name on YouTube, and then you'll be able to find this YouTube. I'm live at the same time on YouTube. You'll be able to find the live stream, and you can rewatch it and rewatch all the points and things like that in case that you missed any of it, okay? Linda Leak said, I'm guilty of overextending quickly. It's good. It's good that you realize that, because when you realize that, you can start thinking to yourself, okay, now when I date, I'm going to make sure that I keep a limit on the amount that I invest and extend myself for the guys that I'm dating. Not because you need to be a bad person or a toxic person. It's not about being toxic. It's about understanding that people earn your time and energy investment over the course of time, over them proving to you that they're actually worthy of that and they're on that same level with you. Okay? You don't want to get into a situation where you're overextending yourself, right? Does that make sense? Someone says the last one only applied to narcissists only. No, the last point about time efficiency applies to everyone. To be honest with you, all guys are opportunists, all right? So even the nicest of nice guys or the meanest of mean players will, if you are offering yourself to be taken advantage of, they will take steps towards that, okay? You have to start taking control and taking responsibility for how you allow people to treat you, okay? Not everyone's gonna treat you amazing, but it is your choice on whether you allow them to continue treating you like garbage or not, okay? DJ says, time efficiency as it relates to marriage or long-term relationship, it's the same thing. As time goes on, even when you're married to someone or in a relationship with them, you still keep limits on the amount that you keep for yourself, your family, your work, and other things that are your priorities, okay? Now, obviously, when you're married to someone or in a long-term relationship with them, they're gonna take up more of your pie. I just gave you guys the example of a pie, right? So it's not like you're not gonna invest anything in them, but you're also not gonna make a mistake of making your partner your entire life, where you have nothing for yourself and no time or energy investment put into any other places in your life. So at that point, you're just becoming strategic about how you adjust that pie so it's perfectly balanced for you and your situation, but you're not overextended or overcommitted in any one particular area in your life. Because you can't be overly extended or committed in your work that you have no time or energy investment into your partner or your man, but you also can't have it the opposite way where your partner or your man is all you ever tend to, all you ever think about, and all you ever do for, that your happiness solely relies on your relationship with your man and nothing else going on with you in your life. That's not sustainable. Okay, right? Django says what to do when you have the commitment and then they start getting lazy, i.e. less romance. Well, one of the things I advise you to do is whenever you see patterns change within someone that you've been dating for a while, I advise you to start to have some serious conversations. Now, the conversations don't need to be, hey, why are you not taking me on dates enough? But I think the conversations need to be a little bit of a deeper dig to start understanding if your patterns have changed, what has changed in your life or about your lifestyle that have led to your patterns changing, okay? Because a lot of times when you start digging a little bit deeper, you'll realize what's changed externally within their life that's led to that change of pattern or change of pace in your relationship, because that's not an accident, okay? Does that make sense, right? Do you guys have any more questions before we move along in our show here, okay? Right? Someone says, can we fix it? Can we fix it by withdrawing ourselves and focusing on ourselves? 100%. Now, in the process of you withdrawing, you might realize though that the guy you're withdrawing from actually isn't that interested in building a relationship with you, in which case then you have to make a decision. Well, he's actually kind of made the decision for you and shown you that even when you withdraw from him, he doesn't really have the desire to be with you. So you withdrawing doesn't really do anything for him, okay? Does that make sense? Tulip in the YouTube chat says, always decline low quality experiences and you will only be offered that 100%. Okay. You want to decline a lot of low quality experiences, especially at the beginning, because you're training guys on how to treat you. And so when you train them to be able to do the bare minimum with you, they learn that and they take that opportunity to continue doing that. Okay. And then all of a sudden they only want to give you the bare minimum. Okay. Bruce Winter says, how much time is too much time spent with a man before and after commitment? I actually talked about that in our previous show. So go watch our show about how to pace a man in a relationship. And even yesterday's show, I broke down for you guys, how much you should be dating a man in those first couple of stages. So in month number 1, in month number 2, 3, and so on, I broke down exactly how much time you should allocate to him and going out on dates with him, to make it very simple for you guys, because I know you guys had that question, okay? And I broke it down when you're talking to them and when you're in the relationship as well. So go watch those shows about pacing guys in a relationship, okay? So I hope that you guys got what you needed from that. We're gonna move on to our next segment of the day, which is gonna be our React segment. Spam up in the chat your headphone emojis and your baby oil emojis and your camera emojis. I'm gonna put a little transition on. Stay with me while I just clean this up, clear this out, and move the camera. And then we're gonna hop right into our Reacts segment of the show. Okay, just give me a second here and we're gonna do that momentarily. All right, Fatty. let's get this thing going here. And we're going to start ourselves off with our first few, let's see here. Okay. And we got lots to watch today. We got lots and lots to watch today. So let's see what our first video is going to consist of. My headphone here. Okay. Let's start off with this video here.
So you're dating a guy, everything is going well. He's pursuing you, he's courting you, and then all of a sudden he start cutting up. But you already start liking the boy, so now you feel like you lost your power. Hi, my name is Tasia. I'm a confidence and dating coach, and I teach women how to control their emotions so that their emotions don't control them. Let me give you another example from my secret girls chat. Long story short, they were supposed to go to a concert. They didn't go to the concert, but he ended up going a couple weeks later to the concert and sent her a TikTok of him at the concert. So what he wrote her was, "You seen my TikTok and thought I did you wrong. I showed you I didn't. You were supposed to apologize and we moved past it. Why all of this unhinged emotional shit?" That's what he said to her. So I said, baby girl, starve him out. Don't say a thing. Let's show you now the results of our social experiment. He's talking to the air. My feelings are hurt now. I'm confused about everything. So are we done? Okay, I must be blocked. Fair enough. So for transparency, all of our arrangements are canceled and you're going to start dating other men. Is that what I'm understanding? I'm too good at this shit, baby. What happened to all that? I was emotional, right? What happened to all? Listen. If you, it's a good Friday. Today is a good day. If you want to join the Tasia Academy, how to get your power back and how to really be the LeBron of this shit, baby, come and join below and join my secret girls chat so men can stay out of our business. Bye now. So you dating a guy, everything is.
This is funny. That's awesome. I think here's the thing. Guys are complicated but simple. Simple in the sense that they don't really know what they want. We come into the Players Club so I can actually help you understand what men actually want, because what they're gonna tell you that they want is what they won't respond to. They're going to tell you that they want you to be upfront with them, be blunt with them, tell you how much, tell them how much you want them, want to be with them, and not make anything hard for them and be like one of the bros. When you do that, they're only going to be unattracted to you, off-put by you, and they're going to, be very aloof and unresponsive to you. When you pull your energy back and you actually take it back for yourself, all of a sudden you're going to see crazy investment from the guys that you're dating and the guys that you're seeing, and you're going to be shocked how much they seem to care about you when all of a sudden you don't seem to be investing much energy into them, okay? That's actually a very interesting program that she's offering there, and I think it works well for many different reasons, because like I always tell you guys respond the most to indifference. They respond to that way more than they respond to hatred, or I don't like you, or I'm upset at you, or I'm mad at you. Okay, remember, indifference is your superpower. That's how you get what you want from men.
My point is, date them all, sis. If a man got a problem with you keeping your options open, tell that man to close them. If that man don't want you mingling with other people, tell him to not have you out here single. If this man actually wants you for himself, tell him to put his last name on it. Until a man do that, date them all, sis. Your problem is you've been dating one man at a time. So now it takes you 7, 8, 9 months to figure out this man is trying to waste your time. Stop wasting your own time by just giving one man a chance at a time. What you need to say is, until we get serious, I'm mysterious. Men will try to convince you that dating multiple men before you get in a relationship is being a... No, that's being a prize. Prizes are to be won. What prize is given to the only person running the race? A participation trophy. So my question is, are you a prize or a participation trophy? Because prizes got multiple people competing to win. My point is...
Sounds good in theory. It's harder, though, to actually put into action. It's the reason why I don't really like this advice. Not because I don't think that anyone is capable of dating multiple people. It's just that I know very easily it can spiral out of control. And what is meant to be a strategy to avoid keeping men at the center of your world can actually be a hindrance to that, because you can now end up spreading yourself so thin that you don't really have time left over for yourself, because you're trying to manage all of these different people. You know, most of the guys that, you know, have rosters or are able to even juggle rosters. I remember when I was, you know, younger, right, in my early 20s. I remember there was this guy, he was a basketball player in my area, and he was a good basketball player, tall, light-skinned dude. And I would always hear stories from girls about him like having like multiple girlfriends. And I mean like, you know, 3 or 4 girlfriends at once. And like they all thought they were the main girlfriend. And I used to think to myself, I mean, sounds cool in theory, but that is so much work to juggle. Like, I cannot imagine how much effort it takes to manage all of those people and make them all feel like they're the main one. And I started to think to myself, when does he even have time to like play basketball or, you know, like go to school or like do anything else that's important? Needless to say, he didn't make it to the NBA. Okay. He didn't even really do that much in college either. So it clearly tells you by the time you expend enough energy, you start to kind of work against yourself, because all of that energy trying to, you know, date all those men at the same time becomes difficult. Now, however, I will say to what Ace Metaphor, I believe, says here, I will say that it is important to make sure that you don't allow guys to think that, you know, they can get all of your time and energy before they commit to you. So ironically, I don't want you dating 99 guys at once and having a roster of 3,000, but because I want you to be able to focus on, is he who I'm looking for? If he's not, let me not waste my time. And I also, but at the same time, I don't want you giving men the power or the ego boost of thinking, oh, you basically have me exclusive to you now simply because, you know, I like you and this is going well. Okay. So you don't ever tell guys, hey, yeah, you know, I like you a lot and I only date one guy at a time, so I'm going to tell everyone that I'm not single. You don't do that. However, you also don't want to make the mistake of dating so many people at once that you end up wasting more time. Because ironically, what Ace Metaphor said about not wasting your time, you end up wasting more time, and you're more willing to waste time with each individual guy if you have other guys to go to. See, you're actually the most you're the most on edge about wasting time when you're only dating one guy at once, because you're thinking to yourself, if this isn't very serious, if this isn't very intentional, if this isn't moving forward in the way that I want it to be moving forward, I'm out. Because I'm only going to be dating one guy at a time, and I can't be wasting that valuable time on one guy who's not taking this seriously. So I actually think it works in the opposite sense, where you get more results by dating one at a time. Anyways.
Men care about your money, you should run. If men, I've never cared about a woman's money. Hey girl, how much money do you make? Could you imagine that fucking question? Hey, how much do you make? If a guy's asking you that question, hey, oh, how much do you make? Oh man, really? Oh wow, we could take crazy vacations. Could you imagine that conversation? That would be fucking insane. That would be scary. You'd be like, oh shit. You should reel back. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. Because that means that he's concerned about how much you make, and he starts factoring that into his lifestyle because he might potentially date you. That's scary. That's a user right there. Men care about you.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I feel that. I feel that. I don't know. Okay. I want to try and say this in a way that just makes sense to you guys. Okay. Guys who are doing well for themselves don't really care how much other women are making. It's just honestly, it doesn't matter. Okay. It's like guys who are doing well for themselves, it doesn't factor into their brain how much a woman is making, because that doesn't extend or increase their level of happiness. If their woman is making a lot and they make a lot, cool, everyone's happy. Okay. If they're making a lot and the woman's not making a lot, still happy. Okay. Unfortunately, the guys that care the most about what women are making are the guys who are not making a lot. Okay. And it's not to diss anyone. Everyone has their own individual situation. Everyone goes through things. And so, yeah, Those are the guys who are more worried about going 50-50. I've never heard a man with money care too much about going 50-50. It's not really a big deal. So yeah, no diss to those guys, but those are usually the guys that have the most problem with going 50-50 and stuff like that. Someone says, what if you make more? If you make more than the guy, I actually advise you to date a different guy. Not because they're not capable of being nice or you're not capable of having a good relationship, but what I've noticed in my experience in helping other people with relationships and even being friends with other people, whenever you're in a situation where you're making more than the guy, guys tend to become resentful of that and feel constantly emasculated by that, even if you're not doing anything. Okay, so simply just by you existing, they tend to get jealous of that and not want to date you because, you're making more than them and things like that. So it's quite silly, but hold on, let me not get a copyright here.
She's in love with him. She's in love with him. Oh my God. Girl. She's in love with him. She's in love with him. Oh my God, funny story. I actually had a friend that would act like this towards my boyfriend, and he would entertain it the same way your boyfriend is as well. And they would always just be like play fighting and like arguing, and she'd be like making fun of him and like picking at him, and he'd do the same to her. Babe, that's called flirting. And I didn't realize it either, so I'll give you this pass. But let me tell you something. If she ever pulls you aside and she ever says, I hope you know that we're not flirting, we're just play fighting, and we're just friends, and that's kind of how we that's how our friendship is. We're just picking on each other. That's what my best friend did, and yeah, she wanted him, and she ended up sleeping with him for months after we broke up, and she dropped me and stopped talking to me and started sleeping with my boyfriend. So, moral of the story, she wants your man, and drop her.
We all have to go through our own pain to experience the reality of life. Some of you might disagree with this and think, oh, well, they're just kind of friends and this is just a friendly friend thing. Everyone's friends. Sure. If you want to believe that, I guess you just have to experience it for yourself. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to guys, they don't make friendships for no reason, and they don't invest their time and energy into people for no reason. Now, I know obviously that's the friend of the girl, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm hanging out with her because this is my best friend's girlfriend. But I think the moment you start excusing things that make you uncomfortable under the guidelines of friendship, you've lost the plot, and you're going to find yourself in a very bad position in your relationship very soon. You don't want to be doing that in your relationships where you start making excuses for what is going on in the friendship because, oh, it's friendship, okay? It's not going to work out well for you, okay? And it's something, if you don't believe in it, the universe teaches it to you the hard way a lot of times, okay? A lot of these friendships ain't really friendships.
You have one-night stands for two reasons. You're an absolute psycho if you have one-night stands for two reasons. One, you're able to sleep with somebody and then not consider them ever again. So that means there's a part of you that is completely and totally emotionally numb to the act of love itself. The second part, you are willing to take something from somebody else without asking for it, meaning that you will selfishly meet your needs without any consideration of the other person. And I think that makes you a psychopath. The reoccurring behavior, having one-night stands after the other, is not somebody who's meeting their needs. It's somebody who doesn't feel they're good enough to have those needs met by somebody that they respect. You're an absolute...
I think this is pretty straightforward. You don't want to... First of all, even for you as a woman, it's a very big waste of your time, because the men that you'll end up attracting when you do all these one-night stands will just be men who are also looking for cheap thrills. You yourself might be looking for cheap thrills, but it's very short-lived. Meaning that after you get the cheap thrill of sleeping with the person, the dopamine high, it eventually wears off, and then you start asking yourself down the road, where am I now? Or what is the purpose of any of this? Because if I need any of those guys for an emergency, none of them are going to answer me. None of them are going to be there for me, and none of them even care about me. So you start to feel very icky about yourself, and that's when you can start spiraling, okay? Trust me, I've been there. You can start spiraling because you start to think to yourself like, what is the point of this? Like I'm being intimate with people that don't care about me, don't want the best for me, and aren't looking out for me in any way, shape, or form. That makes you feel very icky, okay? And that can send you down a dark spiral, truthfully.
I'm going to give you the secret to get what you want with men and boys, okay? One thing that you need to understand. You are the inspiration. If you love yourself, he will love you. If you love him, he will love himself. If you prioritize you, he will prioritize you. If you prioritize him, he will prioritize himself. If you want to hang out with yourself, he'll want to hang out with you. If you want to hang out with him, he'll want to hang out with himself. If you care about what meal he's eating, he'll care about what meal he's eating. If you care about what meal you're going to eat, he's going to care about what meal you're going to eat. You get it? The feminine is the inspiration. You care about you, he cares about you. You get it? I think you get it. I'm going to give...
She's good. I like that. So what she's essentially saying is, for men, we tend to mirror what you think about yourself. So when we meet you, if we think you're fascinated with you and invested in you, we want to invest in you, like she said. But if when we meet you, we think you're fascinated and most interested in us, we mirror that and we show interest in ourselves. We're always kind of gauging, what do you think about you? Based on what you think about you, I'm going to meet you there. If you think very highly about you, you think you're the ish, you think you're the it girl, I meet you there and I believe in that and I treat you as such. If you value yourself and invest yourself, I do the same. I invest in you and I value you as well. If I see through actions and through the way you allow me to walk all over you and the way you allow me to get away with murder, I will then subsequently then invest in myself and not pay attention to you and not be trying to do for you. So that's why I always tell you guys, don't think that doing more for men makes them inspired to do more for you. It actually inspires them to do the opposite, which is do less for you. Realize that when you do less for men and just invest in yourself, first of all, you improve yourself, you become more confident, that becomes more attractive, and then the men that come across you want to do investing in you as well. They just mirror that, okay? Excuse me, Ken says, so be selfish? Yes, be selfish. But a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, it's toxic to be selfish. Why can't I be giving? Why can't I just be myself? I mean, you can. It just won't be very attractive to the men and you'll get used and abused and taken advantage of. So the choice is really yours.
Do I look like those girls that are standing like that?
Sexy.
It's 7 p.m. fry. It's 99 degrees. I ain't got no and ain't got me.
Who sent this to me? Who sent this to me?
Do I look like those girls that are standing like that?
Sexy.
It's 7 p.m. fry. It's 99 degrees. I ain't got no and ain't got me. Do I look?
Men will choose the skinny sales assistant over the overweight CEO businesswoman. Men will choose the happy waitress over the stressed woman with a bachelor degree. Men will choose the woman that is able to ask for help rather than the woman that is so hyper independent and can do everything herself. Men would rather choose the woman that asks him for help when carrying the luggage over the woman that can do it all herself. Men would rather choose the woman that cancels every now and then and declines a dinner date with him because she's busy or wants to go to Pilates over the woman that always drops everything and is readily available for him. Men would rather choose the happy girl over the good girl. Men would rather choose the woman that has boundaries, knows how to say no, rather than the woman that is a pushover and says yes and amen to everything. And while this all sounds toxic, there is a few lessons for you here, ladies. To make a man fall in love with you, to make a man obsessed with you, to make a man satisfied in long-term commitments, marriages, relationships, it is very simple. Number one, men are visual creatures. Your looks matter, period. They don't care about your background. They don't care about your traumas. They don't care about your mental health problems. They don't care about how much money you have in the bank. All they care about is the way you present yourself. Pretty privilege is a thing. And your looks, your beauty will get his attention. Once you have his attention, you want to switch on your feminine energy because that's what keeps him. Combination of the two, being beautiful inside and out, plus making him feel like the man. He feels masculine next to you, like the knight on the white horse coming to save you. That right there is the deadly combination. How do you do it? Click the link in my bio to learn more, get access to all of my courses, masterclasses.
She says a lot of good things here, fairy tales can be bad when you start allowing them to play you, but fairy tales can be good in understanding kind of the psychology behind the way that we love each other and the natural roles that we want to embody in our relationship. So let me explain that to you a little bit deeper. The damsel in distress fairy tale and, story is something that's like cliched and, probably poo-pooed on nowadays because, in a world where we have equality, it's kind of, seen as misogynistic to think, oh, well, the big strong man is saving the woman. Well, that's misogynistic. But the reality of it is when the men feel like the big strong man who are coming to save you, you actually can get a lot out of them, because the reality of it is you want a guy who will take control of the relationship, know what he wants, and treat you accordingly. So you kind of have to get good and strategic about positioning yourself in a way where you can allow the men to feel like they're saving you or helping you or helping to build you up, because in the process of that, he starts to build that mindset of, oh, I'm big, strong man. I can do this and I can do that and I can take control. But it ends up being good for you because then you have to do less asking, less begging, less pleading for nice treatment. And all you have to do in your feminine is, when you're in a relationship with him, you give and you invest when, he's doing well, and you appreciate him when he's doing well. You help him reach higher heights. And if he ever stops treating you well, or he ever stops doing what's necessary of him, you withdraw your energy and you show him through your indifference that you're unhappy with what he's doing. And because he's invested in you and has built that mindset of, oh, I'm going to make sure I fix this, I'm going to take action, you now have a man who's ready and primed with the muscle memory required to take action, fix things, and adjust things if they're not going right. Not a man who is constantly docile, sitting back and relaxing, and then when something goes wrong or you withdraw, he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know how to take action. You don't want that. You don't want that. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, let's hop into our next segment here. You guys should know what is coming up now. If you're unfamiliar, you're going to learn real quick. Everyone in the chat, quickly, spam it up. Spam up what's coming. Let them know what's coming in the chat so they know, so they're aware of what we do up in here, up in the... I was almost going to say it. Up in our show. Let them know what time this is if they're unaware. It's a special time. It's an amazing time. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look anywhere else in your home. If you don't know what time it is, I'm going to tell you the time. Yeah! All right, let's hop into it, chat. Enough silliness for the day. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with what Discord time is and you're a little bit confused here, don't worry, I'm going to explain this to you so that you're very aware. Discord time is essentially where all the members of the Players Club Discord get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship in some cases, and I answer it live on the show. Now, I'm going to explain to you the couple of ways in which you can submit a question. Now, the first way that you can submit a question is to our free relationship advice section, and you access that simply by going in the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. And you can go in there and ask your question. Make sure you format it right. Now you'll see there's a whole bunch of questions that have been asked and are highlighted here. That's because I haven't gotten a chance to get to them. And, there's a line here because it's first come, first serve. So you're going to have to wait a couple weeks to get your question answered if you ask it today. Now you have another option if you don't want to wait and you're impatient to donate to our Discord Premium and get an access to that by donating to the show. So the way you donate to the show is you go to that same link in my TikTok or my description. You click where it says Premium Relationship Advice. You donate to the show. When you donate to the show, it's going to prompt you to put your Discord username and the title of your question. And then that way I'm able to see a notification on my phone, get a confirmation that that's you. And then everyone's happy because I know that's you and I can confirm that, that's you that sent your question and you're meant to be here. Okay. And so for those of you who also want to send me a question, but you don't want it to be, read out on the show because you don't want your business out there, you also have an option to send me a private relationship question through those same links. And all you do when you send your question, it's very easy. You type it out, you donate to the show, and then I respond back to you via your email that you sent the donation with, and then I respond back to you via voice message on your email. Okay, only takes me a few days. Shouldn't take me any. It doesn't take me any more than 7. Okay, but usually only takes me 3 to 4, right? Depending on how many I have. So let's hop into our first question here. Which comes from, we did Addicted to a Cheater yesterday. So let's start with Vic Gog. So Vic Gog says, should I leave him? Vic Gog says, hi, Tommy, it's me again, 22, female, and my boyfriend is 21. Quite young, you guys. The girl with the boyfriend addicted to Xbox. Oh, God. Well, this time I'm here to ask for another piece of advice. He was here in my city for my birthday and stayed for a week. Okay, interesting. The next day, he went to San Diego with a friend who lives there. They were going to bars. They were going out to eat. What do you mean a friend? Like a guy friend or a girlfriend? What do you mean a friend? Things he hardly ever does with me, but many of his excuses are that he's too lazy. While he was there and I was here at home. So he came to your city. He was there for a week and he went out more in your own city while you were there than he's ever went out regularly. And on top of that, he didn't go out with you in your city. I started feeling really icky to my stomach. I went to the doctor and they told me they might need to remove my gallbladder. What? Were you not were you holding in pee? What was going on? Something I told him about and he took it very lightly. Okay, so this is something that's been going on for a while. I thought you were saying like maybe you were so stressed that this happened. I got mad and honestly stayed quiet. So I gradually toned down the conversation. I started pulling away more from the conversation, replying to him every hour or every 2 hours, and just simply responding. He kept asking me if something was wrong, what was going on, and I told him no, that everything was fine. We've been talking very little for the past 4 days, and we haven't had any conversation to change that, which I don't want to start. I forgot to tell you that while he was in San Diego, he told me he wants to move there because his friend's dad said he'd support him in opening a restaurant. And I told him that what do you mean? This guy plays Xbox. Well, how is he going to open a restaurant? And I told him that was great, even though it burned me up inside. I don't know what happened. I don't know what to do, Tommy. Give me some advice, please, and feel free to scold me if you want. Here's the thing, Vitcock. You have to continue doing nothing because right now you're in a very special situation. You have to now gauge if this guy, who's supposed to be your boyfriend, is even invested in this relationship anymore. It's quite strange to me that your boyfriend, this is not like your casual friend, would come to your city. Obviously, you guys are long distance, right? So him coming to your city is not meant to be a small deal. That's meant to be a big thing. And really and truthfully, you guys should be spending majority of that time together if he's coming to your city. There's just no reason why you guys should be, not spending a lot of time together if you guys are long distance and he's in your city for the first time in a while. That just doesn't make any sort of sense. Okay. And if that's the case, you should not be doing anything more than necessary here. Why? Because this is a very important time where you need to be gauging what does he even want here? Because if he comes to your city and makes a whole trip to your city and doesn't even bother to see you all the days that he's here, that should tell you something about what he wants out of the relationship, or if he's even invested in this relationship. Because that doesn't sound like a boyfriend. That sounds more like, like a casual friend that's not really concerned with building this relationship. And if that's the case, please stop wasting your time. Okay. So Vic Gog, what you need to do is effectively pull back all of your energy, all of your resources, and all of your investment. And let's see if he actually comes on this whole, week or whatever, that he's here. I guess he was here for my city and stayed for a week. The next day he went to San Diego. Oh, so I'm assuming San Diego is not where you live. But let's see how this continues to go. And let's see if he continues to pull back from you and continues to not invest in you or this relationship. At a certain amount of time, if that continues on, you just have to say to yourself, clearly this guy's, it's not really that important to him to, build this relationship or even maintain it. I know you're saying that he's asking you what's wrong, but I don't really see too much of an investment on his part. And you didn't really let me know what happened when he did stay for this week for your birthday, how much you guys saw each other or what was going on, right? And it is very strange that he's too lazy to do a lot of things when it comes to being with you. But when it comes to going to San Diego, he's so outwardly going and, he's an extrovert in San Diego. But when it comes to you, now he doesn't want to do anything. So that's not a money issue. That's not I'm an introvert issue. That's just I don't want to put a lot of effort in our relationship issue. But if I'm going out as a single man or I'm going out to explore the town by myself with my guy friends, I'll gladly do that. That's not the type of situation that you want to be in. Okay. Let's go to our next one here. Okay, let's go to our next one. Our next one comes from Sis. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Tomisin, you were right about the reason he was taking long to reply that day was only because he wanted to see if I would think about him and text him back faster, because it usually takes me 3 to 12 hours to text back, and he was upset about it. How I found out was because he was complaining about how long I take to text back, so I played dumb, and he gave me his phone to look at. The times I pretended to just notice he took long to reply. One day as well, he told me that he did it once because he wanted to see if I would notice and pretend that I didn't, and he was like, of course you didn't notice. I care about you and notice when you take long to reply and it feels like you're ignoring me, and I care and want to make sure you're fine and what you're doing throughout the day. Anyways, he definitely is not trying this stuff again because I pretended to not even notice him. Perfect. You don't give that type of stuff energy. That's just an update on the last week's situation. Right now I'm struggling with the ick due to something he had said on our roller coaster dinner shopping date. I'm having cognitive dissonance because his body count is so low, it's only 3, and he rejects so many girls that want to sleep with him, and I've seen it with my own eyes. As well, before we started dating, it makes me think he has standards, and I respected him for it. But while asking some questions, he is always honest, and he admitted that he used to slide into a lot of DMs of girls, and I got the massive ick. I didn't tell him because I didn't want to discourage his honesty, and I just asked, don't you feel it's fan behavior when a man slides in DMs? Are you a fan? He said, of course not. Well, you also have to understand shoot or shoot. What is he sliding into DMs and saying, though? That's what you should have asked a question of, right? Like, obviously guys are going to pursue, but what is he going into DMs and saying? Is he saying, oh my God, you're the most beautiful thing ever? Like, is he worshiping them? That's cringe, okay? But if he's just, doing what regular guys do, that's not necessarily a bad thing, shoot or shoot. He said, of course not, and he just did it as game practice. I just told you, shoot or shoot. He says he has a ton of famous friends, which he does. I know because some famous people follow him, and he would never act like a fan towards anyone. And I also asked, so when you DM a girl and she doesn't reply to you, do you feel like a fan? Okay. He said he doesn't have that problem because almost all of them reply, and he also had so many slide into his DMs. Okay. So this is like things that he's doing when he's single. Like, this is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. Like, it's not like he's doing this now. He asked if I got the ick from him and I lied because I didn't want to discourage his honesty, and said if I would have known this from the beginning, I think he meant say, you wish you would have known this from the beginning. But now I appreciate his honesty, and that I like his honesty, that he is honest, and that I understand his way of thinking. Regardless, the truth is I have the ick knowing that he used to slide into girls' DMs, and I have the ick he is following girls that don't follow him back. And Tomisin, don't say that means I don't like him enough, etc. Because I swear to God, I don't care if it was 2018 Kelly Oubre I was dating. If I found out that he follows girls that don't follow him back and slid into DMs, I get the ick as well as be unattracted to him. The only way I can explain it is you talk about girls getting the ick from guys getting the ick from a girl if all their friends were able to have her. It's the same amount of ick or even greater when men follow girls that don't follow them back or DM girls. And I tried mentioning me getting the ick from a guy I used to talk to for following girls that don't follow him back, and now he unfollowed them all. And so he kind of asked me about it and said he always had a rule before dating me with his friend that if a girl doesn't follow back in 24 hours, he'd unfollow because that means she's uninterested. I told him girls don't follow people they don't know, and asked what the point of following people he doesn't know in the first place is, and he kind of said connections. And I gave him the side eye and laughed because you know damn well you're not making connections with females. But then he admitted again it was a game to him and he was just practicing texting females. I checked his Instagram now 2 days later. He still hasn't unfollowed anyone. I don't think he even knows he follows girls that don't follow him back because of the weekly stalking. He hasn't followed girls that don't follow him back in the past 4 months. Also, basically since he's been talking to you. Also, of my stalking, he hasn't followed one girl ever since I came back to the United States 1.5 months ago. Okay. So you're kind of, I get that it's annoying for you, but you're a little bit like, you're spiraling over something that like since he started talking to you hasn't been an issue. And you're kind of like, I get it, it's his past, but if it's something that you can't accept, there comes a certain point where you just have to say, okay, well, I get it, it's an ick for you, but you have to decide, is it such a big ick that like I can't be in a relationship with you? If that's the case, then just break up with him. If it's not the case, like if you're not going to break up with him because he used to shoot his shot and follow girls, then you have to just decide to get over it. Like you also have to come to the realization that no guy you're going to meet is going to be absolutely perfect for you in every way. And that's okay. It's not meant to be like that. Are you willing to give up everything that he does for you and does in the relationship and the commitment because he follows a bunch of girls? If the answer to that question is no, then you have to just eventually drop it. You can't keep going back to this and saying, oh, I wish he just didn't follow girls. He's so perfect, except he follows these girls. He's so perfect, except, you know, he used to DM girls. Because at the end of the day, if you think like that, you'll always have a new reason where the new guy you're dating is not perfect, because nobody is. Our timeline is 1 month dating, 2 months of another country. I asked him the last time he slid into a girl's DMs. He said 3 to 4 months ago. And I said, that means you were lying about being loyal from the first date, because 3 months ago was when I was in another country. It was after we had gone out. And he asked, haven't we been dating for 2 months? I said no, but that it was fine because we had only gone on 4 dates at that point and we didn't owe each other loyalty. So you're saying it doesn't really apply. Okay, you're admitting that. And still technically don't, because we are still in the talking stage. And then he joked about throwing me off a roller coaster because what do I mean? We still don't owe each other loyalty. And I told him I was just joking and that we do owe each other loyalty now, because the only reason we're not boyfriend and girlfriend is because I told him it's too early. Fair enough. He has something big planned, big plan to ask for the future. He said, yeah, not to joke about that again, and that I'm his girl. Sure, fine. And then he said he hadn't DM'd anyone since our first date, and that I was the only girl he DM'd that he was actually interested in. He said he had a crush on me since 3 years ago when he made me the protein shake in the gym and tried to impress me by telling me about how he used to go to church with his grandma. I believe him because my sister was there and told me it was obvious he did like me. He said he always wished to see me at the gym. After that day, he never did, which was because I switched gyms after that day. I'm sorry, but the whole DM and following thing really lowered his value in my eyes. And I feel bad because he loves me so much, and I did before this, but I can't help the ick I'm feeling. The only way to fix it is if he unfollows or blocks every girl he's DM. Okay, this is where we're getting to the actual meat of the thing, of the question. The only way that you're going to want to not get the ick anymore is if he unfollows or blocks every girl he's DM'd or deletes his Instagram account or something. Okay, we're going to have a conversation about this real quick. And I know if I actually feel he'd do it, but I don't want to tell him about the ick I have, that he isn't discouraged to tell me the truth from now on. And we also don't follow each other on Instagram, so I can't confront him about his following. I look like a creep that stalks his social media. If he opens his Instagram in front of me, I can't say the whole "I notice you follow a whole lot of people" thing, because he doesn't. His ratio is fine. He follows 900 people and has 15K followers. Do you have advice on how to get over this ick, or any advice on how I can make him unfollow the girls who don't follow him back or something? Because every time I think of him now, that's the first thing I think of, and I get icked out, even though it has been the most amazing man ever and extremely loving. But I just can't get over this ick. When I forgot about it, my feelings for him come back. But when I remember it, they lessen. I just remember how desperate the dudes in my DMs are, and how some of them have girlfriends and would break up with them if I reply to one of their messages. And then, well, that's okay. That's what you think. Okay, that's not necessarily true. And I think of him as being the same way with other girls, and it turns me off. But maybe that's a good thing, because I don't get too attached and go crazy like I did last week. He doesn't know this, but I removed every guy I've dated off my social media out of respect for myself, and because they always try to just annoy me and text me after I've made it clear I'm uninterested. So they're kind of crossing a boundary there. That's why you're removing them. And I just wish he would do the same and remove every girl that he hasn't been 100% platonic with, okay? Here's the thing. Okay, I have to be real with you, and I'm not going to be your friend about this. The decision is yours. What I mean by that is, if this ick bothers you so much that you can't stay attracted to him or interested in him or continue liking him, because every time you think about this, it's a problem for you, then you might just have to break up with him. I don't think that would be a logical, rational thing to do. Because unfortunately, what you're gonna realize, okay, the root of your issue here is the idea that your man was giving fan behavior or pursuing girls that weren't interested in him. The problem with the root of this issue is that any guy you date who, has ever tried to pursue a woman will have at one point got shut down, or, tried to, shoot his shot, and a girl was uninterested. That's just the nature of the game. Men pursue. Not every girl that a man pursues is going to be interested back in him. That's part of it. So as long as he wasn't being, a super weirdo, and as long as he wasn't being like inappropriate or being a creep, that's just a function of the things he's allowed to do when he's single. He's allowed to message other girls and allowed to DM other girls and allowed to follow other girls. You also made a mention, and I'm actually glad that you gave this detail. This was actually an important detail. He follows 900 people and he has 15K followers. So it's not even like when you go on his page, he's got a page that looks like he's following 7,000 people and he's got 100 followers and he looks like the biggest, just like weirdo type of person. His ratio is very good. And unless someone was actually going through and looking through all the different individual girls he follows, nobody's going to notice that. And honestly, nobody's going to care about that. The only person that really cares about this and it really bothers is you. And you have to start asking yourself, does the fact that he follows girls that don't follow him back, does that affect his ability to treat me well in our relationship? Is that distracting him from his goals in our relationship? Is that making him a worse partner to me? Am I getting less from him? Do I not you have to start answering those questions. Like, for my future long-term happiness, is it affected by the fact that he follows some women that don't follow him back? Is it affected because some woman he shot his shot at, he still follows? If the answer to that is no, then you have to start writing out your own pros and cons list and asking yourself, Is it worth breaking up with him for all the good that I get in the relationship, for the fact that he follows some girls that, you know, he shot a shot at, or some girls that don't follow him back? I get it. I'm not saying that social media should be irrelevant to you, and I'm not saying that you should be perfectly fine with this. If this is your problem, that's fine. I'm accepting that this is your problem and it upsets you. However, I want you to be aware that at this point, you've tried multiple different ways to try to give him the hint that, hey, I don't like this and this makes me feel icky and this is kind of weird and I would like it to be different. At this point, if you don't want to just come out and tell him and say that he needs to unfollow those girls or else, at this point, you have to make a decision. Are you okay with this continuing on or no? If this is now something that's so serious where you're like, I will break up with this man if he doesn't unfollow these girls, then at this point, you might as well just give him an ultimatum. If you know that it's that serious for you. Because at this point, if it's such an issue for you, you can't overlook it. But you also know that you not saying anything is gonna continue bothering you, then this is ultimatum time. Because you're essentially gonna have to tell him either you unfollow all those girls or we break up. Because that's where you have to be. You can't be in this gray area where you're saying, oh, I really don't like this and I hate this and it even makes me not like him. But then you're also saying, I don't really want to bring it up and I don't really want to address it because I don't want to tell him what to do. Because then no one wins. He's not going to be able to win because he's not going to be able to make you happy because he doesn't know what to do. And you're not going to be able to win because you're not happy in the relationship. So this is the answer to your question. If it's that serious, create an ultimatum. If you really care about it that much. If it's not that important to you and you don't care about it that much, then just decide to move forward from it. And every time you think about it, just realize there's so much more good in your relationship. But if you know that it's a problem for you, then you're going to have an ultimatum at this point, because you can't keep living like this where you're on the edge and you're feeling like, oh, I don't really like him because of this. And you're not allowing him the grace to get the best out of you because you're like, oh, but it's this thing, but you follow these girls and this and that. Now, if you give him the ultimatum and he says, no, I'm not unfollowing them for any reason whatsoever, now you have a decision to make. Once you give him the ultimatum and he says no, then you're probably going to have to make a decision about the relationship. But if you know that this isn't make or break for your relationship, just move forward. Okay. But that choice is yours. That choice is not mine. Okay. Let's go into our free section. We'll answer a few questions from here. Okay. So, Milk Tea Boba, okay, says my ex left me for another girl when we were broken up. I think he is still with her. Not sure. He keeps denying it, but I still don't know. He told me he's having the last call with me on Wednesday. What do I do to save my relationship and remove the third party? We are together 3 years. You started this message off with my ex left me for another girl. That's the end of your message. Okay? It's the end of your message. Not to be mean to you, if someone leaves you for someone else, it is not your responsibility to convince them or sell yourself to them or sell them on the idea that they should want to be with you. If they choose someone else, you happily let them go spread their wings and be with the other person. You don't be in the business of convincing someone why they should be with you. Because when you start doing that, you turn into what? You turn into a pick-me-sha. When you're a pick-me-sha, nobody likes you. Nobody. Okay? You'll funny enough, if you do this, trying to convince him, because I know you sent this message a while ago, if you start trying to convince him to like you and want to choose you over the other girl, over the third party, you will be a side chick to your own boyfriend. Don't do it. Move forward with your life. He's made his decision. Don't convince him otherwise. Okay? Move forward. Next here we have, let's see. Next here we have Braun Lakers. Okay. Guy treating me like I'm a bop. Okay. Hey, Tommy, I'm 26. So I met this guy who's 25, but just turned 26 at the club. And I was a bit drunk. Oh, boy. And wanted to go to an after party. Oh, boy. So he got us an Uber and we went together. Uber Black, I hope. Uber XL, I hope. When I got to the after party, a guy I've met before was there and said he would drive me home. So what is it? It's now like what, 4 a.m.? I told the guy I came to the club with that I want to go home, so he gave me his phone to get myself an Uber, and he was dancing with some girl. So he took care of me, even though he just met me, so he's a nice guy. We've been texting ever since, and the first time he asked me out was when he asked me if I wanted to go to the club. Where'd you meet him? I found that very disrespectful, and I called him out on it by saying this is a first. I've never had a guy invite me to the club before because they know better, and nah, I'm good. And then he said he meant the club when he said going out, and he doesn't plan dates at the same... Wait, what? And he doesn't plan dates at the same day afternoon. What? I don't even understand what you're saying there. And we have been texting since. He told me he was at a downtown place with his friends, and I told him I was busy, and then he asked if I'm busy now, do I want to hang out later? I asked him what does he have in mind, and he was like, not clubbing. I'm assuming because of our past convo. So I said when and where, and he said tonight I'm in downtown. Then he said if I don't want to go out, he can come to mine or I can come to his. He orders us something to eat and then drops me off later and said because he just doesn't want to make me feel uncomfortable. I told him not being a gentleman makes me uncomfortable. And I told him I don't invite guys over so he can come, so I can come to his. He gets food, dessert, and we're watching something. Wow, such a magical day. And because of the gentleman comment, he said he accepts that I'm trying to point and judge him, and he likes saying and expressing himself face to face, so he won't defend himself right now. But if I want to come, he'll be more than happy. And then please read the comment section for the rest. I told him I only agreed to exchange contacts with you because I thought you were decent and a Muslim. Are you Muslim? Braun Lakers, are you Muslim? I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be drinking, or am I confused? Anyways, you don't have a plan. I've never dealt with a guy who talks and treats me the way you do, and I'm not interested in doing so. And then he said, LOL, treat you. I treat you a certain way. We barely talk, and every time I start a discussion, you will always tell me some stuff I don't want to hear because they are limit mean. What? I don't even understand what that means. And then he referred to my earlier comments and said, look, that you think that's the type of stuff you tell someone and you want him to be on his knees trying to be a gentleman. I might not be what you call a gentleman, but I know what I am, and I can't be fake with people. I'm real, so you can't dictate me on how dictate me on how to do stuff, because guys did it for you before. You got to work on your spelling and your grammar here. You have to have some pride of yourself and self-esteem, and that's lovely. I like that, but it looks like you're dealing with the same as you or worse. Oh, this is so painful. Please spell check, guys. We could both humble ourselves and talk nicely and make some effort and have some effort going on here. And then he asked me, am I here? When I didn't respond, I basically left him on red days later, and he asked me how I'm doing, and we started texting for a while, and he told me he wanted to propose. What? We go to this particular bakery and get some dessert and go for a walk. I told him I wasn't free. And then we continued texting. At some point, he asked if he can call me. We never spoke on the phone because I only gave him my number later. I ignored that message, but I responded to his other messages. He has been asking for us to go to the bakery together ever since. He asked me how I was doing yesterday. I told him, what would you do if I wasn't well? And he has, and he was going to propose to give me a hug and an ice cream, and which in to go with that sandwich and bakery / cafe. I think this is all low effort, and I don't think he's serious. I don't think so either. I don't want to waste my time with someone that doesn't take me seriously and doesn't actually like me. I think he's cute, but I like obsessed men, with men that are obsessed with me and not cheap dates. Do you think he's just trying to smash? I think that he's treating you in the environment. He's treating you in correlation to the environment he met you in. Unfortunately, and the club is not a bad place to be. I just think that if you're going to the club and expecting the guys you meet at the club to treat you with the respect and care that you want a guy to treat you, you're going to be very misguided. Because when guys go to the club and meet you, they're immediately considering where they meet you and how they met you and factoring how they're going to treat you. So if you want really, really good princess treatment from men, I would advise you to not meet them in the club. Okay, you can go to the club as much as you want. Spend as much time you want there twerking, shaking your booty, 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees, as much as you want. I'm just advising you, if you want to go there and find men to date and you know that you want to spend your time with, don't go there looking for guys to date, because they'll treat, like you said, Bron Lakers, they'll treat you like a bop. They'll treat you just like you're whatever, right? They won't treat you like you're special. And so that's kind of a function of what happens, right? When he meets you in the club, it's a drunk night. You guys go from the club to the AP. You're at the AP. He's dancing with the girl. He lets you, he's being a nice guy. He lets you get an Uber home and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's just seeing you as one of the other girls that he goes out with to the club and things like that. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to the club or have fun or enjoy yourself. All I'm saying is I think that he's treating you according to how he actually feels about you, like you're just another girl. And of course, like you mentioned in the end of your message, you want guys who are obsessed with you and like really put in a lot of effort. So if that's the case, then only date those guys. Clearly, he's not in line with that. And if he's not in line with what you're looking for, then you have the answer to your question. You don't talk to him, you don't message him, you don't hang out with him, because he's not treating you or treating the relationship in accordance to how you want your guys to be, right? Head over heels for you, putting in a lot of effort for you, really wanting to put his best foot forward. He seems more cool off you, like you're just one of the girls, just another girl, and that's how he's approaching his relationship with you. If you don't like that, then you don't talk to him anymore, right? There's just nothing to do there. You're not going to do something that will magically have him unsee how he met you or unfeel that way about you. And clearly, whenever you bring it up or you call him out on it, all he does is defend himself or tell you why you're wrong. So you're wasting your breath defending yourself, calling him out on it in the first place. He clearly has no desire to make a change or put in more effort than, what he's doing. Okay? Senya says, not eating pineapples. Hi, this is sort of an X-rated question involving oral. Please click off it if you are 20. Okay, you guys heard. If you're under 20 years old, I'm going to give you guys a second. Please click off the message. Okay? I don't want to be responsible for having you hear things you're not supposed to be hearing. Okay, hopefully all the 20-year-olds are gone. Sorry, under 20-year-olds are gone. I'm 25 and have been in my relationship for 5 years with someone who's 26. I met in college. He had gotten out of a relationship at the time, so things obviously did not start so pretty in the beginning. However, we eventually worked those things out. Since the beginning, he always seemed to have some issue with going down on me. I hope all the 20-year-olds and under 20 is gone. I can count on one hand the cumulative minutes he's given me head up until this point. Whilst I think I've given him head to completion at least 100 times at this point. I guess it's 5 years. Yeah, okay. 100 times, okay. And when he'd do it, he would lick my thigh to get the juices off his tongue. I obviously took offense to this. At the same time, oral is something I always want. So I would bring it up now and then, no matter how uncomfortable I was, because asking for what I want has never been easy, but I know it was important. Plus, if there was a problem with me, I want to fix it. However, he would say things like, I'm not good at it. You've given head to other guys, but I haven't to other girls. I'm scared you'll get your period. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, okay? I'm laughing at this guy. He's just, he's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sexually immature, that he thinks you're what, gonna get your period while he's eating you out? Like, what the clearly he doesn't understand female anatomy at all, okay? Which is probably why it's so scary for him to give you head. If you don't understand female anatomy, giving a girl head will be very scary. You won't know how things work. You won't know where to stick your tongue. See, you guys are idiots. Some of these guys, they're idiots. They be sticking their tongue inside the actual hole, thinking that, oh, well, I put my pee-pee in there, so if I stick my tongue in there, I guess it's the same thing. Like, that's the whole point of the situation. I'm supposed to stick they don't even know where the clit is. They think the clit is inside you. They don't even realize, and even the ones that know where the clit is, they don't know they're supposed to pull back the skin. They don't know if they really want to, they don't know about motion. They don't know about, rhythm. They don't understand any of it. Okay? They actually think they're supposed to put their tongue in and out of the hole. I'm telling you this just so you understand, because I hope all the younger people are gone. I'm telling you this just because you have to understand some men are really that clueless, like really that clueless. And for some of them, it's not even a function of the fact that they don't want to do it. They just have so little understanding and education about it that they just feel lost. And they'd rather than feeling lost, they just rather not do it. That's for some of them. Let's see which one he is, though. Okay. I decided to be patient with him for a while. If the problem wasn't me, then it was just a matter of time, right? So I would regularly shave down there just in case. Okay, well, here's the thing, though. At a certain point, you have to start getting an understanding. Is it because you don't want to do it or just because you don't know how to do it? Because now you can kind of play the role of a little bit of teaching and guiding to help him understand. And as his confidence increases, he'll get better and feel like he's actually doing the right thing. And this is where you have to start good at giving him an understanding of, okay, that's the spot. Okay, you're doing it right. Okay, this is this is the rhythm. That was good. And you kind of have to, start guiding him to help him understand how it is he's supposed to do it if he's that clueless. Okay. Eventually, he randomly started doing some other nasty thing. I will spare you some details, but I never asked. I think I have an idea of what it is, okay? I did show delight for it, but however, it was new and unexpected. I think I know what it is. But it's something I can live without. Yeah. About 2 years ago, around Christmas time, I was frustrated about something. I forget and we have a fight. I bring up the fact that he never gives me head. He brings up the fact that he does the other nasty thing that I never even asked for. I know exactly what it is. So from that point on, I decided that I will never allow him to touch me down there, even if he changes his mind or whatever. Is this continuation? Yeah, this continuation. There seemed to be no issue until later that summer when he tried to put his hand down there and I moved his hand away quickly. Well, okay, so this is your boyfriend now. Okay. So we're in quite a conundrum because I get it. You're frustrated, but this is your boyfriend now. So what are we doing here? Are we going to be in a position where you and your boyfriend aren't going to get intimate anymore because you're frustrated with the situation? Because I don't think that that's sustainable for either of you. Okay. Not that you should do anything you're uncomfortable with, but what's the end goal here? Because that's only going to snowball way downhill. Okay. After that, we had pineapples, how we always do, with him finishing and not me. See, now we're having a problem here. You're frustrated, you're not getting what you want, and you're feeling like you need to hold back some from him as well because of how frustrated you are. This is only going to get worse. We have broken up this April, of course. I told you. Hence, why I've joined this club. But what I want to know from you so that I can avoid this from now on, how much of a deal breaker should this be? I've had chances to break up in the very beginning, but I always thought maybe I shouldn't place so much value in these things. I also thought maybe he will change his mind. The funniest part to me was that he always say a girl's gasm is always important, and yet he never once asked if I did. In 5 years, he never once asked if you had it. Okay. If a guy starts out giving you mind-blowing pineapples, how can we encourage to continue in a way where it's fun for him too? Or can we find a guy early on that's fulfilling in this way? I just want to save my time. Thank you, Tommy. And everyone's words are valuable. Here's the thing. Sonia, what you're supposed to be doing when you meet guys and you're learning them, obviously you're not supposed to be sleeping with them right away. But what you want to do is eventually start having these conversations about intimacy. And I'm not just talking about like dirty talk, like, oh my God, I want to jackrabbit myself inside of you. Oh my God, I want to feel how wet you are. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about intimacy in the sense of like, how do you like intimacy? What are your deeper desires and your fantasies, and what are you into? What are your, KINKSs and things like that? Like having conversations about that without actually doing it, right? Those are good in the process of you learning about him and learning what he's into. And I know that you said that this guy said he really cares about gasms and things like that. But the more you have kind of conversation about intimacy, you can kind of sniff out the guys who are kind of just gassing it versus the guys who actually have real knowledge. Are you following what I'm saying? So I'll just give you like a simple example, right? If a guy is talking to you about, okay, what type of, rhythm do you like? Do you like it slow? What are the type of things you're into? He's asking you about, okay, what are your spots? Like things like that. You start to get a sense of like, oh, like he knows what he's talking about, right? Or he knows like, how to actually give a girl pleasure. You can also kind of sniff out in the way some guys will talk about, intimacy that, oh, you don't actually know what girls like. You think you know what girls like based on what you watch on the internet, on the hub. Okay. And you base what you think girls want off of that. You don't realize that the female gaze is totally different, and that what we find interesting and what we, get turned on by is totally different. And so when you have these conversations with guys, you'll start to become more aware of which guys are which guys are aware of that and aware of what actually turns women on and what they like, versus the guys that think they know that based on what they watch on the hub, not realizing that the hub is through the male gaze. So they're watching stuff through the male gaze thinking that, oh, all the girls want this, but they don't. Okay. And so these are the type of conversations that you have to start having with guys, not on the very first date, but as the months go by, so you can get an understanding of like, do we match in our intimacy, on our levels, on our freak level, on the things that we like to do and enjoy doing. Are you following what I'm saying? Okay, I'm trying not to be too TMI here. Now, the other thing that you have to acknowledge is if you like a guy that goes down on you, that's a choice of yours and a preference of yours that you can choose to be into or not. So if you really like that and that's really important to you, then you have to make sure that the both of you, before you even hop into being intimate with each other, are on the same page about that. Now, obviously you don't need to make it an ultimatum and hold a gun to his head and say, hey, if you're not willing to go down on me, then this is not going to be a relationship. That's not what you need to do. But in the process of getting to know him, you need to start asking questions and getting an understanding of like, what are his experiences? Like, what does he like to do? Okay, you like to give girls pleasure. Like, what do you like to do to give a girl pleasure? Okay, are you into this type of stuff? Are you not into this type of stuff? Before you sleep with someone, you should have had extensive conversations about what both of you like, what you dislike, what you're into and what you're not into, and what your boundaries are. That way, like, this is what I want you guys to understand. Actually sleeping together should be one of the last things you do to get to know each other. Okay. Even having conversations about intimacy is not inherently bad. I just know sometimes when you have those conversations, it leads to the intimacy, which is bad. But having the conversation of it is part of learning and understanding that human being. That way, by the time you guys put it into action and you actually do it, you're on the same page. Everyone knows each other's boundaries. I know what you like. You know what I like. You know the speed. You know the rhythm. You have an idea of the type of things I'm into, that you're not playing a guessing game by the time we actually sleep together. That way, it's a good experience for everyone, and nobody walks away from that experience like, damn, I don't know I don't know if I really enjoyed that, or I feel like I had to fake that or anything like that. So I say that to say, when you're having conversation with him and you're talking to him and getting to know him on this intimacy level through conversation, you need to be getting an understanding of, are you someone that likes the idea of going down on your partner? You don't even have to ask, do you want to go down on me? You just ask in general, do you like going down on your partner? Or is it something that you don't regularly do? There's a 100% chance if this guy regularly or never does it with his past partners or in general in his relationships, he won't do it with you. Some guys, and even sometimes it's a cultural thing. I know that for a lot of Jamaican guys, they tend to not go down on their women. I don't know why. I guess it's just, Jamaican men don't do that. I guess the culture. And I know for some other guys, they really enjoy it and, they'll let you ride their face. So it all really depends on the guy. And you have to start using conversation to get deeper into learning what he's into. And if you know that this is important for you and you can become really frustrated if you're not getting that, then you have to start having those conversations with guys that you're talking to, so same page before you get to that point. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, chat. That's the show for today. I know I came a little bit late for you guys, but don't worry. Tomorrow I'm gonna try my best to be on. For those of you who are wanting to send me in a private question or a premium question, make sure you do that through the I had a brain fart, through the link in my description there on our premium questions and our private questions, and through the link in my bio on TikTok. For those of you who are on TikTok, my Instagram is up there on the top left corner of the screen for you, just Tomisin_Atub, and it's on the bottom right of the screen as well for those of you who are on YouTube that want to follow me. Sorry guys about my internet. I know that it's lagging. It's just internet's gonna be interneting. Okay, sorry about that. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you came late or you missed some parts, don't lie. It's all up there on my YouTube page. Just go on my YouTube page. It's Tomisin Atobatele. Type it in on YouTube. Go into the live section, and when you get into the live section, you can watch this live show along with all the other live shows I've done since the beginning of time. And the best thing about it is you'll have access to the YouTube and the TikTok live chat. In the what's it called, in the show. Okay, you guys are funny in the chat. For those of you who want to know what times I'm on every Monday to Friday weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm gonna be on tomorrow, and I definitely really triggered you guys with the Jamaican comment. I'm Nigerian, by the way. Okay. And so just so you guys know, I'm going to be here again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so until we meet again tomorrow, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, goodbye, arrivederci, salam, ciao, bon voyage, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now. Bye.